arrested or thrown.
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Good to see you.
Hey, good
sorry
to see
about
you
that.
Oh, you're good. I forgot about the timeline.
Yeah. Let's see. We have M. Buglet in the house. Good to see you. And Darren Dobson. Good to see you too. Yeah, that's all who has popped in at the moment. It's 4 in the house, so that might be correct. And we have Venerable Owl in the house as well.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
I'm just chilling in the chat on my phone because it's easier to see the chat.
Yeah, I understand that. And actually, today's topic was an idea from one of Venerable Owl's videos, actually. He mentioned, he made a video about sovereign citizens. So when I put a comment on his video, and I said that could be a good topic for a live stream. So I said it could be titled as "How to Deal with Sovereign Citizens," and he thought that was a really good idea. So here we are, basically. But we did now we are talking about not under normal circumstances. We're talking if a long-term crisis or disaster happens.
And I got dogs in the background barking.
Yeah, I can hear that. So that's the idea, actually.
Is sovereign citizen the definition? Is it different in every country, or is this just pertaining to the United States? Or
I will get into that, actually, which is quite interesting. And then Buglet has a poodle.
Yeah, I have neighbors. I don't even know what kind of dogs half of them are. They just bark, and then my shepherd will come out and start barking at them, and then I just hit the mute button and let them all shut up.
Yeah. I have actually. I'm gonna share this Wikipedia. Yeah, the Venerable Owl says they go by different names, but the ideology is all similar.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, and Buglet. That's for one channel. I'll put the other. My chef tech has a channel too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put that wiki up if my computer wants to do as I want to. Hey, CR, good to see you. And oops, welcome, good to see you. And we have Prepper for the Ages in the house. Good to see you, ma'am. Always nice to see you. Let's see if my computer wants to cooperate with me. Not that one, that one.
What up, CR?
Yep, CR. And Guardian Prepping in the house. Good to see you.
GP is in the house.
Yeah, GP is in the house.
He probably has a whole lot more information on that than I can even begin to think of.
And Buglet says, as Shadow, no, you guys can call me M or Emily. Okay, good to know. Thanks for that reminder. Yep. That's all and I believe Guardian wants the link. So we put that together.
You didn't get his. He didn't give you his email yet.
No, I don't send an email for him, but I should, or I figure out something. But anyway, I might need to enlarge this a little bit. 90% is too small. So that will be doing good. Developments. Well, this is a pretty long Wikipedia on this topic. So, but I saw something, earlier when I checked it. Why don't I don't get it this time? It's always it's always
Yeah, I saw it and I can't find it now, and it's like probably in the third paragraph somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I agree. Wow. Oh, I heard a ping. Oh, that was Guardian. Hey, Guardian.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, good evening, guys. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, we are doing good.
Middle of the afternoon for me, but yep, I'm still drinking coffee, so I don't care.
Well, sovereign citizens they exist in a couple of countries, actually. If I can find it.
In certain respects, they're correct on certain laws and that. So yeah, I mean it's a it's a twisted mess.
Yeah, it is. If I can't find the part I want, I might need to.
What did it have to? What did it have to do with?
I have to try to remember what it was.
Now there's I just saw something about right there. Something about that and QAnon. Yeah, all of a sudden QAnon is now a thing with sovereign citizenship. They just keep adding stuff to it. Is Wikipedia, which is a public domain.
Yeah.
Edit as you go, add whatever you want, and yeah.
If I can find that part.
Would it have to do with taxes or laws?
No, actually, it began basically in US, but then it spread to all, I believe, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, basically. So It's a lot of information.
There you go. Might be an orange in there.
Yeah, probably. It's typical. When you need to find something, you never find it. Oh boy, it's so fun all the time.
There you go. African American sovereign citizens increased. Oh, it was at the bottom there where you just were.
Yeah. But anyway, it's basically in all the English. Hey, boats. Good to see you. Yeah, they are typically found in US, UK, Australia, and Canada. Yeah, and I found a part that they also are in New Zealand as well, actually. So, thank you, Venerable Owl, for that. Sovereign citizens are people who think they can buy a cheat code to get out of responsibility. Yeah,
sort of.
something you could say that basically. You could basically say that.
There's a couple YouTube channels that talk about it, that and birth certificates and stocks and things. And I mean, the stuff they talk about, it makes sense, but it's pretty complicated to try to keep up with what they're really talking about.
The movement appeared in the U.S. in the early 1970s and has since expanded to other countries. The similar freeman on the land movement emerged during the 2000s in Canada before spreading to other Commonwealth countries such as Australia, New Zealand, and United Kingdom. The FBI has called sovereign citizens anti-government extremists who believe that even though they physically reside in this country, they are separate or sovereign from the United States. So the sovereign citizen phenomenon is one of the main contemporary sources of pseudolaw. Sovereign citizens believe that courts have no jurisdiction over people and that certain procedures, such as writing specific phrases on bills they do not want to pay, and loopholes can make one immune to government laws and regulations. They also regard most form of taxation as illegitimate and reject social security numbers, driver's licenses, and vehicle registration. The movement may appeal to people facing financial or legal difficulties or wishing to resist perceived government oppression. As a result, it has grown significantly during times of economic or social crisis. Most schemes sovereign citizens promote aim to avoid paying taxes, ignore laws, eliminate debts, or extract money from the government. Sovereign citizens' arguments have no basis in law and have never been successful in any court. So,
Steve would probably know a whole lot about this from Corsair.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Did I miss anyone? Slippery Pickle in the house. Good to see you. Venerable Owl says they have been involved in paper terrorism, tax schemes, strange beliefs that countries are corporations and not valid. Yeah.
There is something to be said for that in the United States.
Yeah. Hey, Katie. Good to see you. Hey, Vanessa. Good to see you too. Sorry if I missed you earlier, but I had my eyes on the Wikipedia. So I couldn't see
Hey,
the
Daryl
chat.
lives here.
Yeah, as always. Vanessa says, if one can go live in places in this country far from government influence, but you must do it by yourself pretty much. Yeah. Hey, dear love survival, good to see you, man. Yep. Trust the science, Wikipedia, lol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Guardian, what do you say about a topic like this, or the idea about a sovereign citizens?
So thanks for asking. I think it's a very engaging topic. I do believe that in a lot of different ways, we're looking at a change of the dynamic in the way that society runs itself. I think that if you look at society over the last couple of centuries, you'd see that society is always evolving and the way that we do things. And I believe that before long, with the fact that technology consistently, Moore's law, the fact that technology is exponential, the growth of it anyway, and that it is consistently, increasing, in providing capabilities for society to be more just, fair, and equal in a lot of ways, while providing, if you look at every single year, the standard of poor people as well decreases as well, and the type of lifestyles that they live improves, which is obviously amazing. More people have access to fresh water, more people have access to the basics of society, and I think that that's an amazing thing. I love that that's happening. But I think that when it comes to sovereign cities and the way that we view it in its point of view, I'd absolutely say that the whole dynamic is about to shift in the next several years. And the reason, obviously, why I say so is because of how much emphasis is being put onto technology. And a lot of people will even be naysayers.
Troy, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, good to see you, Troy. Welcome in. It's important for us to see the way that things run and realize how much things are potentially going to change. And that's what I was just about to say. Like, there are potentially naysayers around the world as well when it comes to AI and the advent of like AI changing society within on a structural level. But I firmly believe that everything's just about to flip. Perhaps for the better. We have to try and be optimists, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah. Prepper for the ages says, saw one sovereign citizen try and embezzle $65,000 from his work, saying the business wasn't a person, so there was no victim. Seriously.
That's a little twisted there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But anyway, that is really bad that they have spread to UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So I put the link to this Wikipedia in the chat as well. So for you to read, because it's a lot of things to read in this article. So the question is, let's say in a long-term disaster crisis, would they be a danger to other people because of their views?
I don't think they would, because their views are not against other people, so to speak. They're just against like the government and the overreach and taxes and laws and things. I mean, if a crap hit the fan situation and there's somebody who just believes they're a sovereign citizen living in their little compound next door there, I don't think they're just going to come over and say, well, I'm a sovereign citizen, so I'm taking what you got. I don't think that would happen. If anything, they'd probably be more on the side of staying away from everybody. If the law breaks down and everything breaks down, all bets are off for everybody. So at that point, we're all sovereign citizens, right? Wouldn't that would be about you're a citizen to your own property at that point.
Yeah, and as Venerable Owl says, they are danger. Their beliefs are not in line with laws of cities, counties, states. So that is why I asked the question, because I think they can be a real danger because they don't care about anything. Because there will be some form of local laws, even in a long-term disaster, put together by those who lives in that community, in that specific village or suburban areas. So
I can't remember the name of the type of ideology that when you just don't believe in anything, in the rule of no law. Crap, it's evading me right now. There's a term for that.
Yeah,
where they're not sovereign citizens. They just don't believe in anything. And there's always groups and stuff that go with it.
They're also linked to hate groups. Yes.
Yep.
Too loud to hear where I am, so I just quick pop in. Okay, Gary, no problem. Can you put up the list? Well, link. No problem. I fixed that. Dear. No problem. There you go, dear love. So, because if they are linked to hate groups, so that can be a problem because there will still be people who are different. They don't like. So.
Good evening, Shadow. Good evening, Guardian. Yes, it's me again, Chef. How you doing?
Oh crap!
No, I'll come and visit you in America one day, Chef.
That's fine.
I'm going to come to your barbecue and say it's me again.
That's all right. I'll be like, sweet, you're here.
Yay! Well, I think America might be a safe place compared to UK London.
Coming soon to a city near you. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, Shadow. God bless you, Guardian.
Venerable Owl says they have killed many police officers. What does Prepper for the Ages says? There have been cases where they killed police officers. So, yes, they think laws don't apply to them. They kill police officers thinking they can't be arrested. Oh, if they think that, they are most stupid mindset they ever had.
Good to see you.
No PV tonight. He's off for a week.
Yeah. Vanessa says law-abiding implies something. Some laws need removal, but that is for legislators to do, or the courts. Yeah, I agree with that, Vanessa. They oppose the rule of law. Yeah. So they can be a huge problem in a long-term disaster as well. So if they are a problem under normal circumstances, they will be a much bigger problem in a crisis. Be darn careful for whom you root for to be classified not human or less than human. Yeah, I agree with you about that, Vanessa.
Hi, everyone in the chat, everybody out there.
So, what is your thoughts about this topic, dear lads?
Well, I mean, I was just trying to sort of figure out what is a sovereign citizen.
Well, I can put the link.
That's okay. Just in a sort of in a nutshell. I mean, what upper classes are we talking? The elites?
Okay, let's say.
Okay, sure.
We can go. The sovereign citizen movement, also Soviet movement or SovCits, is a loose group of anti-government activists, vexatious litigants, tax protesters, financial scammers, and conspiracy theorists, found mainly in English-speaking common law countries, the United States, Canada, Australia, and United Kingdom, and New Zealand. Sovereign citizens have their own pseudo-legal belief system based on misinterpretations of common law and claim not to be subject to any government statutes unless they consent to them. The movement appeared in the US in the early 1970s and has since expanded to other countries. The similar freeman on the land movement emerged during the 2000s in Canada before spreading to other Commonwealth countries, such as Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. The FBI has called sovereign citizens anti-government extremists who believe that even though they physically reside in this country, they are separate or sovereign from the United States. The sovereign citizen phenomenon is one of the main contemporary sources of pseudo-law. Sovereign citizens believe that courts have no jurisdiction over people and that certain procedures, such as writing specific phrases on bills they do not want to pay, and loopholes can make one immune to government laws and regulations. They also regard most forms of taxation and illegitimate and reject social security numbers, driver's licenses, and vehicle registration. The movement may appeal to people facing financial or legal difficulties or wishing to resist perceived government oppression. As a result, it has grown significantly during times of economic or social crisis. Most schemes sovereign citizens promote aim to avoid paying taxes, ignore laws, eliminate debts, or extract money from the government. Sovereign citizens' arguments have no basis in law and have never been successful in any court. The movement can be traced to American far-right groups such as Posse Comitatus and the constitutionalist wing of the militia movement. The sovereign citizen movement was originally associated with the white supremacists and anti-Semitism, but now attracts people of various ethnicities. Yeah, including a significant number of African Americans. The latter sometimes belong to self-declared Moorish sects. The majority of sovereign citizens are not violent, but the methods the movement advocates are illegal. Sovereign citizens notably adhere to the fraudulent schemes promoted by the Redemption A4B movement. Many sovereign citizens have been found guilty of offenses such as tax evasion, hostile possession, forgery, threatening public officials, bank fraud, and traffic violations. Two of the most important crackdowns by U.S. authorities on sovereign citizen organizations were the 1996 case of the Montana Freeman and the 2018 sentencing of the self-proclaimed Judge Bruce Duquette and his associates. So, because some have engaged in armed confrontations with law enforcement, the FBI classifies its sovereign citizen extremists as domestic terrorists. Terry Nichols, one of the perpetrators of the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, subscribed to a variation of sovereign citizen ideology. In surveys conducted in 2014 and 2015, representatives of U.S. law enforcement ranked the risk of terrorism from the sovereign citizen movement higher than the risk from any other group, including Islamic extremists, militias, racists, skinheads, neo-Nazis, and radical environmentalists. In 2015, the Australian New South Wales Police Force identified its sovereign citizen as a potential terrorist threat. So now you have a little background.
Well, thanks for that. To be honest, I do apologise. I haven't done any sort of homework, and I must admit I don't really know much about this subject. I've heard a lot of things where you get people that get traffic stopped, and they're like, "I don't have to show you my license," and you hear things about governments being illegal, but we need governments, we need law and order. That's what I know, but.
Hey Nancy, good to see you, ma'am.
I'm not really knowledgeable with this term. Even the sovereign citizen, is that an American thing? Is that
American, Canadian, Australian, New Zealand,
right?
And UK,
right. And the UK. So
yeah.
I mean, is that anything to do with Magna Carta, Chef?
I don't remember
Where
reading
it's
that.
like, well, okay.
I think it's more of it's like they want to be left alone. They don't believe that you can instill their laws on them. And I've yet to hear anything except for this Terry Nichols thing, and that's new to me, that, you know, a sovereign citizen is going out of their way to be bad. It's like they just do their own thing. And when people pull them over or whatever, they're like, I didn't do anything. I mean, these are some of the videos I've seen. I mean, it makes sense from their perspective. It's like, I didn't do anything. What are you pulling me over for? Well, you don't have a piece of paper on your back of your car. It's like, so?
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? Well, you're not following the law. Well, it's not really a law. It's a rule. But there's all kinds of, you can go back and forth on this stuff all day long.
Good to see you.
Yeah, there are cases. There are things I've heard. Some things like, for example, we've got these gypsies in England, and they got their horse and cart on the road, and they're saying, "Well, we don't need a license because horse was here before the roads."
Yeah, and rules are created after the fact, and that's where it really gets them. I mean, they're trying to make it sound like these, and that was the word I was thinking of even trying to figure out. I finally found it. Is they're trying to make it look like anybody who thinks they're a sovereign citizen is an anarchist, which is not the case. Anarchists are out to just do whatever they want on purpose. So and that's a whole different definition there. But they try to make it out to be that you're an anarchist, and that's not correct. I'm not standing up for them. I'm just not going against them. You know what I mean? It's like you do what you want.
Alicia, good to see you again.
Yeah. You raise a good point as well, Chef Tech there. Okay, so if I can just for a minute just emphasize something.
Sure.
So basically, I do understand that there needs to be law and order in place, or else without the rule of law, I know very well what people do and how primal and like pretty much how primal people can be. So that being said, I do think that we are abiding to laws that in like certain things and certain jurisdictions that are in place, like that are very outdated. And I think that it isn't a good idea to, to perhaps be completely anti-government, anti-law, anything like that. But at the same time, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? Mm-hmm. So you can look at the way that governments over time have gained a supreme level of kind of a lot of the people within politics, unfortunately. As we all know, there are a lot of shady politicians out there. And I think that in a lot of ways, people that have the certain powers abuse that level of power not everybody. I understand that there's certain protocols. That's why I made sure to have a disclaimer in the beginning. But I'll double down on this fact, though, is that if you had to ask me, like, you know, it's a strange analogy, but just hear me out. In the movie Avatar, the people, the Na'vi are essentially your sovereign citizens in their own way, and the people coming to invade and take all the resources are the government. Unfortunately, that's also how I see it.
Hey, Felipe, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, just my 2 cents.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree, definitely.
The laws and rules keep changing to fill whatever agenda. I mean, you literally can't wake up in the morning, eat your breakfast, get dressed, drive to the store, and drive home and go back to bed without breaking at least one law. And you didn't even know it. And they're not going to arrest you for it. There's such ridiculousness in the rules and things that governments have set forth. You just could never leave the house. I mean, everything you do would be against the law. I mean, I can't even think of anything. I mean, I know in California, there's still a law in the books that says you can't set a mouse trap without a hunting license. And that's still on the books from like the 1800s. They never took it off the books. It's just there. They're not going to break into your house, but they might use that as a reason to come after you for something erroneous, which is that I think that's half of what's some of this stuff is.
And what happens when the law is wrong? What happens when there are officers and people in power that abuse that level of power and you can't go to anybody because the people that are in power are the same people that are persecuting you? So we've got to be extremely careful with
Bob,
how that
good to see you.
Good evening, Bob. And then shoot Bob the link over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Hey, CR.
Always good to have Bob on panel. So yeah, I think I try to, for the most, like I legitimately try to be a good citizen. You know, I try to assist where I can and try to, you know, abide by the laws and recommend other people do the same thing. However, I do think that's what I was saying. Like, it's just that I believe that the systems that we're using are potentially outdated. I think that the laws are good. I think that the laws that we uphold are pretty good. I agree to every single one of them. For the most part, there's nothing really that I see as outlandish. But I will say that it's just that certain people that hold power can sometimes abuse it. That's pretty much it.
And they seem to be abusing it a lot lately.
Yes, agreed. Absolutely agreed.
You know, it's okay them doing a business deal and then talking about peace, but who's accountable for all the deaths in the war? You know, and then you hear about billions of pounds going missing. I mean, if anybody deserves to get a bit of cash, it's the family that have lost houses, homes, businesses, family members.
Hey, Tracy. Good to see you.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, and they like look what's going on. I'm not going to specify any particular country or region in the world, but
yeah,
you know, they create a new law in a book that says, "Oh, you're not allowed to say something we deem offensive," and then they go back in your history, in your Facebook or whatever, and be like, "Oh, look, you said this 7 years ago. We now need to arrest you." It's like, well, that wasn't a law back then.
Hey,
They don't care. They just make the laws up as they go. What's up, Bob?
Hey, Bob.
They just like they make a law and then they go backwards to enforce it on previous happenings, which in and itself is illegal. But they don't care because they're in control. They're the one. What are you going to do? You can't fight them. So they're going to do what they're going to do. You can fight them in court, but the courts are just as corrupt as the people arresting you and the ones that made the laws in some cases. So they don't want to hear it. They're like, "Oh, well, you said this back then. So yeah. And you didn't take it down off your page. So now we have to arrest you and throw you in jail for 2 years." I know Durlov is sitting there going, "Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about." So we're not going to get into the specifics of where in the world this is going on, but we all know it's happening.
You're trying to get me started, aren't you?
No, I'm not. And we all sit there and shake our heads going, how can you do this? And yeah, and that kind of falls back into, I didn't do anything wrong back then, but now you're going to say I did and hold me accountable now for something I did when I was 6. And now I'm 42. So yeah. I mean, this is the ridiculousness of where authority is taking us right now. They are not our leaders. They are our elected officials to voice our opinions. But they take it to the other extreme, saying, nope, you elected me. I am now your leader. I will now make the rules and laws, and you will follow them.
Well, sorry. Carry on. Yeah, well, of course, they abuse their power. A lot of them lie before they get in, and then when they get in, they completely do a U-turn, a 180 on all the things they said they was going to do. And it's like a class war. There's class war. Look at there was a case in this country recently about this YouTuber who was arrested recently, and he was banned from social media for 4 months. I won't mention his YouTube channel name, but he said he came and gave a kind of an explanation as to what had happened, and he said that they took his laptop, all his computers, and even your deleted messages. Excuse me, they can roll it back and find them, even if you've deleted them. So it's just another way of silencing people. I think it's just another way of finding out who thinks what. And they put you in a list, like this pair's people are in the yellow list. These ones are in the red list. These are the danger ones. These ones are in the white one. They just follow anything. They'll jump off cliffs if we want them to. And, you know, they're just going to slowly tighten the noose on us, maybe. And then, like you're saying, go back a certain time and say, well, you said this. And now, you know, you have to go to prison or whatever you. It's just getting stupid.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go on, Guardian.
No, I really would love you to. I'd really love to hear the rest of your thoughts on that. Go ahead, please.
Well, it's like the government is like a horse, and you've got the reins, and the people have got the reins of government, and they're riding along, and everything's cushy. The people are holding the reins. The government's doing what it's told: go left, go right, go straight, stop, blah blah blah. But it seems that the reins have been snapped. The people have let go of the reins, and now the horse is bolted. They're doing what they want now, and it's just gone into crazy mode. You can't think. I mean, people getting arrested for praying, people getting arrested. Apparently now in England, if you say "God bless you" to certain people, you could get arrested for it if they feel offended.
So I want to, firstly, before I share my thoughts on this, I haven't heard much about Bob's point of view, and I think that Bob has a pretty educated point of view on this specifically. So before I share my thoughts, go ahead, Bob. Welcome to the panel. And
thanks, guys.
Evening, Bob.
What is the topic exactly? I just entered, just got in here.
How to deal with sovereign citizens.
Okay, what's the definition of a sovereign citizen?
Sorry, Shadow.
Let me just nutshell it pretty much. So basically, somebody that believes that they are not even part of the government of the country that they live in. So essentially, somebody that believes that they are their own government, or that they belong to a private government that is not at all connected.
No, they don't have any government.
Yeah.
They believe they're a citizen of the world, and laws don't apply to them. They have a very anarchist mindset.
For the most part,
yeah. I don't deal with them. I don't.
Sounds like the royalty.
I don't deal with them. I keep a distance from animals like that.
Yeah, that is what I try to do to myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I speak with someone briefly and I find out their politics don't align with mine, I don't deal with them. I break contact, and that's it.
Yeah, if I see something on YouTube I don't like, I skip to the next video.
Well, that's just what I do, because I learned a long time ago you can't change the way other people think or what they do. You can't. There's nothing you can do to change them. So get away from them. Yeah. Boring answer, but it's just how I do.
Do the Quakers come under that? The Quakers, or these people that have got their own kind of...
Oh, the Amish?
Amish, Quakers.
Yeah, sort of. They do follow the local legal regular laws, but when it comes to like for the Amish, it's like, no, they're not going to vaccinate their kids. They never have, they never will. It's a religious thing. And they tried to hold them accountable for that too, and that didn't end very well in Pennsylvania.
I mean, really, the most we can do as far as politics is vote for the best choice, your own best choice. But like, they do turncoat and they go and do exactly what they said they weren't going to do, and sign petitions and attend city council members meetings. That's the most you can do.
I think we are in for some trouble. If you listen to what Daria Loves as well said a bit earlier, he was mentioning about the fact that, with their control and, basically bringing up old dirt from like a decade ago or 2 decades ago, stuff like that. My concern is that and again, I speak about technology because it's absolutely prevalent. And if you look at how technology is changing the world right now, we should put like a bit more thought into it. But if you look at the way that social credit scores are done throughout certain countries already, and the fact that the governments would prefer to have that instated across the board in pretty much any country, because then it gives them so much more power and control, and that's always what they want. They very seldomly give up any power and control that they have. So be cautious when they start taking certain powers and controls from the people. But essentially what happens is that if you look at the way that you can Google image something now, and remember that citizens and the public are only provided a very small fraction of the most modern technology that they're working on. So your surveillance systems and that as well, that are already being able to read people's faces, and I know that this may sound a bit tinfoil hatty to some, but if you look at the way that they are right now, they're going to be able to have complete control over everything, because they can, like if you've ever made a video or a voice note on WhatsApp or a social media thing, or that you've ever had a video on anything, they could easily Google search your voice and your image, go back on it in a heartbeat and find out exactly who you are, drop your social credit score to the point if you're saying things that they don't like, drop your social credit score to the point where you can't purchase or buy anything whatsoever. If any of you have watched the episodes of Black Mirror, if not, and you've got some time, please do so, because there's some good thought projects in Black Mirror, the episodes, as to like exactly what I'm talking about. But that type of technology is coming, and there will be a time where we give up our ultimate freedom, and there's no way that we can hide or run or have any privacy whatsoever from the people upstairs.
Look at what China already did that. I mean, you get caught jaywalking on one of their 18 billion facial recognition cameras, your score goes down. Now you can't take a bus. Now you can't take a train. Now you can't do this. Now you can't go buy food. Now you can't even go to work. So now you have no money, and then you starve to death, and they don't care. That's their control factor, and that's all it is. The government's gotten so out of control and so big, they just want to keep getting bigger. That's all they want. When you have everything you need, controlling people is the last thing you can do to make you feel big or important.
Yeah, people are the ultimate resource. And it's not because I believe that, but it's because it's a statistical fact that if you look across the board, there's nothing more powerful than taking away the freedom of people.
Sorry to hear about that, Alicia. Alicia was saying that she made sure that she didn't take the video jab, and unfortunately, her mother did, and her aunt did, and her mother had a stroke, and now she's got dementia, and she lost an aunt. I didn't take a jab. I didn't know we went back to the dark ages. I mean, it's almost like we've gone back to the dark ages, where they're trying to wipe out truth, trying to take away light.
Yeah, people are easily controlled with fear. I mean, throw some fear into the factor, and immediately a large majority of population will fall into place where you want them to be.
Because they want food, because they want materialism. So they'll do anything.
I was within a day of losing my job, period. And my wife knew it, and she understood. And then they reversed it all at the last minute, but half my friends they got it because they wanted to keep their job. And now they're all sorry for it. One of them's going into the hospital for surgery on his heart next week.
Yeah.
Yep. History repeats itself. Modern day book burning. And our local libraries are getting shut down. I've got my local library was shut down. And funny enough, even if we look back at, I think it was the Second World War, they were just bombing Dresden. And they just bombed loads of old libraries. You're like, why? You know, why don't they want people knowing information? Everything's gone electronic.
That way they can control history too, because that's the next thing. They're already changing history on stuff.
Well, yeah. So maybe they're thinking in the future, if people found out that we wiped out millions of people, they're not going to be happy. So what are they going to tell the people in the future? Oh, there was a big natural disaster, or there was a big war, and billions died. And if Mum, what happened? Or Dad, what happened in the past? How come
then they put mom and dad in an insane asylum. Oh, wait a minute. Where have I heard that before? In the early 1900s.
Hitler Youth. Yeah. Yeah, and that's disgusting. You've got people that are in hospital and people couldn't even see them. And then you had people like Boris Johnson over here having a party, during the lockdown. And, it's like they can do one thing and we can't do it. And, we can't do our thing. They can do what they want.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Yeah.
Again, it's gone back to the fact that we've let go of the reins. If people, if you're not keeping the government in check, and there are circumstances where you can turn around and say, no more government. We're not going to, because now you've gone rogue. Now you're doing the things that because the people don't want to, they don't want to toe the line. If the government's doing things that is for like they just done with the lockdown and stuff like that, they're just doing what they want now. They're just like, it's too easy. No one's going to say nothing. No one's going to stop. But sadly, we're living in class. We've got different classes, and we got a young lad in prison at the moment. I don't know if you guys know him, Tommy Robinson. He's been in solitary confinement. They're trying to crack him up, and other people who are upper class, they say loads of things and they don't get touched by the police or the government. Douglas Murray says loads of things about Islam, and but yet Tommy Robinson mentions stuff, and he's a thug hooligan. Put him in prison. Yeah, he lost his appeal, and but what they're showing is that you small people, you better watch out. Watch out. Watch what you say. Watch it. Look what we've done to him. And if you haven't got money, if you've got money, I remember back in the day when people like even Bob Dylan was like, he openly said, I hate government. I'm not saying we should hate government. Law and order is needed. In a kind of a way, they want us to sort of say stuff like we don't want it as an excuse to then say, look, you see, they're anti-government, anti-law and order. But I'm not anti-law and order. We just want.
Anti-government overreach.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just put in there, Hopper in A Bug's Life said it perfectly. If these little ants figure out that they outnumber us 100,000 to 1, our way of life is over.
Well,
and that was a true thing. They said that, and when they say these things in some of these movies, they're actually speaking the truth about real life, not just about a movie.
So quickly, if I can, if you go back onto what the last thing that Slippery Pickle said, if you go up a little bit, Slippery Pickle made a comment there, "'Twas the covfefe," right? With now, I want you to think about something, and this is a bit of a tinfoil hat opinion, I get it, but Slippery Pickle saying that there brings up something that I just want you to give a little bit of understanding to, right? Because, so Donald Trump, think of him what you will, Donald Trump said something very specific. He made a tweet, and the tweet was covfefe. Nobody understood what it meant, right, at the time. This was before CV19 occurred. So listen to me very carefully, right? This was before COVID, all right? So the situation was that Donald Trump bleeps out a random word, okay, that nobody understands what it is before the CV19 occurred. And if you look at COV, the beginning of COV, okay, what is COV? COVID, okay, COV. And then what is FEFE? FEFE. Go Google and look up the Urban Dictionary meaning of what FEFE means. It's basically like weak, or, you know, somebody that's new at something, or somebody that's like speaking potentially. This is a really wild card opinion, but I'm just saying you can look at things like that. Now, conspiracy theorists and stuff will look deeply into that, but for the most part, it was likely just a mistype, you know?
It's funny how a lot of conspiracies turned out to be true. And the conspiracy theory came up was that when they shot Kennedy, and you know, the CIA came up with a conspiracy theory.
They've released the files now that apparently there was definitely a second shooter.
And the rest, at least two shooters, at least, or maybe more.
I'm a shooter. I could tell you that for sure. His head went two different directions.
Yeah.
You know?
And what about the magic bullet? The magic bullet that went sort of like, you know, via Australia and
that
back to England.
The new picture just got released with a hole underneath his chin, which means it came from the guy in front of him or his wife. We don't know. We'll never know.
All we got to do is look at what was happening at the time, what laws he was trying to you know, was he trying to stop wars? Was he trying to help people of a different country?
He was trying to get us back on the gold standard too, which put in jeopardy some other country. Yeah, we're not going to go there. You know, I'm going to stop you real quick. But it put in jeopardy some other country's control over us, who apparently is a really good ally or something.
Well, did they really win the 1812 war? Who won that war, really?
Who wins any war? Nobody.
The bankers. The bankers win every single war.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they're masters. And you know, it's funny how the kings of the planet Earth and the dukes and all these high-profile people are very silent when there's wars. Yet they're supposed to be, you know, the good people. Anyway, I watched this speech once by, I think he's Rothschilds, and he was standing again. As you know, we like to keep love in our family. Because we like to keep money in the family. Sorry, I said it the wrong way around. He first of all started saying, we like to keep the money in the family. And he went on to say, as you know, we like to keep love in the family. In other words, you know, the uncle marrying niece. I mean, they're supposed to be the top people, and they're like, I mean, there's a history of incest with these people. Anyway, the Habsburgs, the you know, the Romans, you know, they did it. If you see the film Gladiator,
they want to keep their bloodline intact. They don't want it to venture out into the wrong bloodline, so they keep it all in family.
Keep in the family, and you know, marrying cousins and nieces is just disgusting. And you know,
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with that.
And they've come to the decision now. We don't need the people anymore. We don't need this amount of people. We've built our pyramids. You know, we've got AI now. We've got robots, and you know, we don't need this many people. And plus, these people, look, they're like savages. Look at them. Look, you know, they're lower class. They haven't evolved. What cracks me up is how these elites can say they've evolved. How have you evolved when you're marrying your niece? You know, how have you evolved? And they're saying the reason why the majority of people are poor is because they haven't evolved yet.
Good point. Good point.
You know.
Anyway, back to sovereign citizens.
Yeah, sorry about that. Chef got me started. Sorry, sorry, Chef.
Yeah, I'm good at poking the bear. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they need to be brought down a peg or two. You know, but sadly, there's so much division in society today. It's ridiculous. You know, you've got the ones, the haves and the have-nots. Then you've got the ones who think they're higher class. And then, I mean, we really do have people that are like savages as well, sadly, because they've been kept that way. They've been weaponized. You know, they've been kept dumb, keep them stupid. Let them follow the red team. You're in the red team, okay? Blue team is the enemy. You're the red team. And they're literally going, you know, don't even know what they believe in. They just, you know, seems to be a lot of people want freebies today. But who's created this environment? The same people, sadly, at the top.
It's the haves and the have-nots. The freebies go to the bottom of the pile. Everybody in the middle gets to pay for both sides.
And they're lying to people. Yeah, just pay your taxes, you know, pay your mortgage, cross the lights at the right time, no jaywalking in China, and just do the right thing and everything's going to be fine. But now people are saying, well, we've done all that and it's not fine. It's not safe for our kids. You know, they want to change the sex of my child in the school. They want to, you know, make me say this is red when it's blue. And you know, it's just gone crazy. And but, you know, guys, just keep your sanity and yeah, get back to sovereign citizens.
Yeah. We always lied on a sidetrack, but it's better to go back to the topic.
Yeah, I just maintain what I can control. That's it. It's a very simple answer to find peace in your life. What you can control, find out what that is, and work on that. That's it. You can't do nothing about anything else.
Yeah.
You know, the most you can do is vote, sign petitions, attend city council meetings. You know.
But even the councils are in on it now. They're in on these 17 goals for sustainable living, all this WEF stuff, Charlie's project, King Charles's project, the World Economic Forum, you know,
That's
17
the One World
goals
Order
for
project. Yeah.
You know, but how are they going to, achieve those goals? But there's going to have to be some serious changes. But yes, the local councils, we need to get the power back to the local people, the local, like you're saying, Bob, our own sort of immediate area. And maybe it's because people don't get involved as much as they used to in their local area. But then again, maybe it's because there's a lot of people.
Why. That's exactly right.
There's a lot of people coming in that are not really from that community. And then the real people from that community think, well, it's not our community who's going to these meetings anymore. And the meetings are getting, recently we found out there was like something like £5 billion paid in a year to these immigrants.
Oh, yeah. Same here in the States.
You know, billions of pounds. And I saw a video of them coming through France. Look, if they're genuine people, but they're not genuine because they're fleeing from a war-torn place, alleged or whatever they say.
Yeah.
and then they want to bring the ideology from the place that's having the wars over those ideologies.
Well, think about it. Okay, we're all from other countries. We all are.
Well, yes, way back when we did what we did, and we can go backwards and create a lot.
Right. Now, our great-grandparents wanted to bring their ideology to the New World. Okay. And then the next generation, they blend right in. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they came over to this new world because they wanted to leave their ideology behind.
Well, I mean, it's a bit more than that. I think it's the people of Europe went to America to get away from the Pope because he's a head job. He thought he was God.
And they also to get away from the fucking royal families who owned everything.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Well, they're
in here anyway, and nobody told anybody. We signed a contract.
They're in on it. They're in on it together. All these people are in on it together. What we're seeing in Gaza is blood sacrifice. What we're seeing in wars is blood sacrifice. The same things that they were doing in the Aztecs, where they're sacrificing people to the gods. So they're doing the same stuff today. It's but it's just in a different way.
And what can we do about it?
Well, I mean, what we've got to do is prepare. What we've got to do, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's already written. We're in the book of Revelations now. And you're talking wars, pestilence, disease, and you're seeing it in front of us. More and more natural disasters, all sorts of diseases springing up and what have you. So, it's good. The best thing to do is be a prepper, get prepped up, try and get involved with a little group if you can.
Prep, pray, and stay out of the way.
There's something I'm deeply
Good
considering
point.
doing as far as going into. I know a lady who's on city council for another city. I'm going to consult with her, and I heard something very substantial on the Sean Ryan show, which is a very good idea.
Yeah, I watch that sometimes.
A very good idea is have all of our churches full of first aid equipment. Gauze, bandage, all for terror attacks, because we're being attacked by terrorists in the United States right now.
The whole world is. The whole world is.
And I'll consult with this lady who knows the local political methods, and then I'll go to my city council and say, how about we donate gauze, tape, and all that, and have it stored in all of our churches, because it takes time after a mass shooting, after a car running over a bunch of people. It takes time for the first responders to get there. But churches, like in my small city where I live, are all over the place. And if each church had a certain amount of gauze, first aid equipment stored in, we could save a lot of lives.
Very good idea. We got someone saying here, isn't tomorrow Sunday for Bible studies? Actually, the day, the Sabbath is Saturday, not Sunday. The reason why the Vatican, Rome, changed the day from Saturday to Sunday is because King Constantine was a sun worshipper. So the actual the seventh day of the week is Saturday, not Sunday. Sunday's the first day of the week. You see, it's things like this that the majority of the people don't got no idea, no clue. So they'll say it in their writings. They'll say, we are the authority. We are the head of the church. That's why a lot of people legged it to America. They're like, this guy's he's crazy. He's like, well, we can prove that we got the authority by the fact that we've changed the day from Saturday to Sunday. Well, actually, no. In Greek is Sabado, in Spanish is Sabado, in English is Saturday. The Sabbath is Saturday. So, yes. And back then, Friday night 6 p.m. was going into Saturday, and then Saturday 6 p.m. goes into Sunday. But we don't live like that now. But that's how they.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But what we can do to protect each other and help each other is, I'm going to do this at home and get more medical equipment on hand in my house.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
When Al Qaeda and the others, because there's thousands of them here in the U.S., we've had 4 years of an open border, and they know that there's thousands of them here in the U.S. Designated terrorists, and these are not normal people. So I'm going to go get more medical equipment each month and put it in my house and have it marked up with some reflective tape. So if something happens, I can walk it over and start working on people, or give it to the first responders who might need more.
Great idea.
Those are the things that we as individuals can do. Have extra gauze, sanitary. You buy it on Amazon by big boxes. $20.
Refills.
Yep.
You buy in bulk.
Buy in bulk. Yes, sir. Exactly. Thank you, Shadow. I think all of you guys might want to write that on your own lists to have extra stuff like that. So when it happens, because it already has happened, January 31st, New Orleans, a car plowed through a crowd of people, and have some of that shit in your house ready to go. Yeah, Costco's another place you can get it. Amazon, wherever you can buy it by bulk. Keep it in tubs to keep it dry, and if you're not able to plug an open wound on a person, hand it to someone who is, you know.
Yeah, I regularly get first aid gear on a sort of monthly basis. I'm always buying little bits and pieces, gauze pads and all sorts. And people were saying before the Ovid, before the people put messages on my video saying this guy had hand sanitizer before the outbreak. Because most people that have bug out bags, we include stuff like that. And, it seems that, yes, we need to be getting prepared, whether it's food, whether it's medicine, whether it's your community that you're working with, to say, hey, just in case this happens, because they're not going to come and bail us out. The Prime Minister ain't going to turn up with a helicopter and say, here's some water.
You can't depend on other people. You've got to do it, not me. And don't. Okay, now Tracy's local learnings. The dollar store is a good place to. I recommend to anyone out there hearing this, get medical equipment.
Yeah,
and put some aside, and don't plan on hoarding it. But when something happens, you've got it available. And like I said, if you're not physically capable of plugging an open wound, there are people out there who are able to do that. Hand it to them. Here, take it. That's a good thing that we could all do. Because we can't change politics, we can't change religion, we can't change the history, but we can change our own behavior to benefit our neighbors.
We create our own future.
That's correct, Shadow. Yeah. And help ones who care for. Yeah.
Talking about stuff, I've got box loads of everything to do, gauze pads. First aid, even things like blood pressure monitor.
Take that kind of stuff, and if there's something happens by your home, grab that kit and walk it over to, because there's always nurses and doctors in the crowds anywhere you go, always.
And this is on top of my AFAX.
Walk that over to them and go, here
you go.
You use it, or what can I do to help you? What do you need? That's the things that we can control. It's just I'm going to put some of that effort into my channel coming up. Boom, boom, boom. This month I got my pension. I got more gauze. I got more tape. I got more this. To hand it off to the first responders. Now I was a first aid instructor in the U.S. Air Force, so I know I can plug wounds. And my wife is into healthcare. She cuts people's arms and legs off and shit. So the two of us are around. We can stop bleeding. We can try to stabilize someone until help can arrive, because that's the best we can do to help each other.
Yeah.
Stuff like this is really cool, like self-adhesive bandage.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. And like you're saying, the Dollar Tree, or we call them the pound shop in the UK, £1. And I mainly buy these for my dog because it's and myself, but stuff like that, self-adhesive, you quickly wrap round a wound, and like you're saying, with gauze pads and stuff like that, because the society today is so divided, it's inevitable. What is coming is it's just going to be pure chaos. What does it say on the American dollar? Order out of chaos. So someone's creating that chaos. I mean, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying it's a big conspiracy, and they do exist. Many people have said, things this ain't happening, and they find out it's happening. Well, actually, there's a place in America that's actually a department specifically for collecting conspiracies. I don't know if you know it, Bob, or you've heard of it, or it, Chef, but there is a department in America specifically collecting all types of conspiracies. It's crazy stuff. But
that's not the stuff I focus on. I focus on what I can do. You know.
Yes.
But would you here's the let's I'm going to ask a question that leads us back into the topic. Would you hand your entire first aid box of all your supplies over to a sovereign citizen that you know is part of a group that may have other people hurt? That falls into a mind mess there. It's like, yeah, somebody got hurt. They're a sovereign citizen. They don't care about you, but would you care about them?
I probably would. That's another human being who's laying there bleeding, and they need someone to help stop the bleeding. Yeah.
Well, how many cases have you heard of Israelis taking people into their hospitals?
Yeah, I don't think we want to go down this road either right now. We really don't. That's going to get Jaron like banned in ways you had no idea.
Yeah, just I don't know. I think I'll make a few videos about that coming up, about what we as individuals can do. I'll consult with a lady who's on a city council for a city near us. Ask her, how do I approach my city council to begin doing this? Storing first aid responder equipment in each church in our city. There might already be a program there. There might already be there, but I don't know. You know,
Thanks, Al. I'll check that out.
I think that's what I can do as an individual. You know, maybe once a week to go to a different church with a box full of gauze and tape, and go, here, keep this in the church. You know. Even if I can't get a consorted effort together, if I can't do that, I can do it individually. Walk into a local church and go,
no problem.
You know, here you go. It's in a plastic tub. It's going to keep it dry and clean. Here, keep this in the church, and walk out. You just
got to hope that there's people in the church that won't like, ooh, I can use this and take it home with them, and then it's not there anymore.
Well, that's out of my control.
Right.
You know.
Well, even having the boxes ready so that when something does happen, you can just take it there. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's all I've got there. The sovereign citizen, I don't know. That's how I deal with people who don't think the same way I do. I don't deal with them. I walk away.
I don't think I've ever met one to have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
They make it sound like, just like certain groups, they make it sound like they're everywhere and there's billions of them. No, there's probably a couple 100,000 in a population of 2 billion. So it really, it's a blip on the radar, but they make it sound like there's more out there than you know. They're everywhere. Another fear tactic. It's like, you know what?
Yeah,
sure. If they're going to do something stupid the way they think that's not stupid, well, that's up to them to figure it out, not me.
Yeah. Yeah, even if somebody, I don't agree with them politically, if they're laying there bleeding, I'm going to do what I can to stop the bleeding, because that's another human being, you know.
Yeah.
Unless they just shot one of your friends, in which case somebody shot them back, then I might choose to go after my friend and not them. It's situational at that point.
Yeah.
This is where situational awareness is very important as well. You know, you're rolling along in the car, someone in the road's making out that they're bleeding to death, you know, and then they got people hiding behind the bushes. So you got to be careful as well with that in some situations. Like I watched a video yesterday of this mad, crazy scene in the Australian outback. This lorry driver's coming along, and it's just like in the middle of nowhere, like, you know, hundreds of miles from anybody. And he's got this guy waving him down. Stop, stop, stop. This driver just he done a bob. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, and so just be aware, perhaps, you know, obviously if there's someone lying outside in your near vicinity and they're bleeding out a child or someone in need, yes, that's nice, Bob. I mean, I would, you know, that's normal people do things like that, you know. But
yeah. I don't know. I kind of took it in a different direction as far as storing up medical supplies and all that. But I think those are some of the things that we as individuals can do. Keep extra in your house to hand it to the first responders. And if you want to go the next step, go to one of your local churches and drop off a box full of gauze and tape, you know.
And how would you know if anybody laying there bleeding is a sovereign citizen or something else? You don't.
I wouldn't. You don't.
That's the thing.
No.
Yeah, someone's dying on the floor, and you're like, "Are you a sovereign citizen?"
At that point, sure, I'll be whatever you want me to be. Can you get some gauze for me, please?
Yeah, you know, because first responders, they don't ask your political association at all. They don't care what skin color you are or what religion you are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a big subject. It's a deep subject, Shadow. What made you pick this subject?
Actually, I watched one of Venerable Owl's videos about the topic was sovereign citizens. So when I put a comment, I said, "Hey, that would be a good topic for a live stream." And I said, "You could have set the title as how to deal with sovereign citizens." And I get the reply from him, and he said, "Good idea." So
well. I mean,
here we are.
Why differentiate when it comes to law and order? Whoever's breaking the law should be dealt with. Whether, you know, it's just like we're saying about medical stuff as well. If they're bleeding out, you know, if whoever breaks the law, if they're going against what, you know, the government sort of guidelines or what have you.
I'll give you a real-time price on gauze pads. I'm just using Amazon because it's encompassing different locations all across everywhere. Yeah. You know, 100 sterile gauze pads, $18.99, $20, 100 of them right there. You know, but I mean, $20. Pick up an extra one, and I could go and drop it off at a local church, and I'll look up for surgical tape. It's a real-time price. Yeah, they got the thin cotton. I got the rolls of the really hardcore stuff because that's what my wife uses when she's taping up people, you know. And
the good paper tape, not that old school stuff you need scissors for.
Yeah. Well, this is it's a little bit different. It's very thick and it tears the hair right out of your arms. Yep. That's the good stuff to stop bleeding, you know. But generally, well, you know, your wife's a nurse too, so.
Oh yeah.
About $10 for a let's see, 1 inch wide, so in general, 12 rolls for less than $9.
Yeah.
You know,
I have buckets of partial rolls because once a person in a hospital opens the roll up to use 3 inches, they're not allowed to use it for anything else. So it goes in her pocket and she just winds up bringing it home and dropping it in one of my medical buckets. And then when that's full, I seal it up, write on it what's in there, and put it in the basement with the rest of the stuff.
As long as it's sealed.
You see that on the back?
Good packaging. Yeah.
That's where this is that medical tape right here. That's the holster for my 45. Same thing. My wife drops little rolls of those things on the kitchen counter, and
because you got to throw them out, and you can still use them.
Oh yeah, this is good tape, man. It don't come off.
And truly, if you have tape, if somebody's bleeding and you have a roll of tape that was open 6 months ago, but it's still good, you're gonna use it. Yeah. Regardless of the sterility of it or not. I mean, okay, there might be something growing on there, but it's medical tape. It's been in a bucket. You know, unless you've been carrying it on the floor of your car, driving around everywhere with all kinds of crud getting on it.
I use some of that. So our wives are in the same profession, you know, and shit, man, you know, you can write on it and this stuff don't come off, man. I got rolls of it in my first aid kit right now. Where can I get some of this tape? I don't know. What do you call it? You know, she called it order, you know?
Yep.
She rolls it to Bob Good once they are.
Oh no. He started.
He started again.
He started.
Are you going to give CR a strike again or fire?
I think this freaking Shadow guy. We're over on Maria's, and he gave me a strike. You know.
I remember that.
Yeah, I get Chef does that to me a lot. I mean, I know Chef might sack me one day, so you're fired.
No, I'm just trying to. I love the way you talk. I love the things you talk about. There's just some things we need to be careful what we're talking about. So I just try to. I still have the reins on you. I haven't cut them, so I'll pull back a little bit every now and then and be like, all right, just let's just walk for a second. That's all.
I made a video recently having a go at the UK government. I said, this is for the UK government. You know, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? Spreading fear. You know, God never gave us a spirit of fear. He gave us a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. And, you know.
Yeah, but now they're going to come knocking on your door and arrest you. So,
you British have to be really careful these
days.
Let
them come.
No.
Let them come. I'll be waiting for. I'm not scared of none of them. You know, this is the thing. You know, the world needs people that are not going to be scared. I mean, we didn't get where we are today. You know, we had people helping us too. Although the establishment were doing what they're doing, we did have many people that have helped us to even singers, people, even musicians that have stood up and they could seem to get away with saying stuff. But yes, I hear you, Chef. I hear you, Chef.
I'm just trying to keep Shadow's channel from getting banned.
Well, Shadow gave me a strike 1 today, so you can just harass the shit out of him. You've got my full permission, okay?
No, he's my brother. I wouldn't do that.
No. Oh man. Yeah, I'm sorry I changed the topic to medical supplies, but you know,
that's right. I'll keep bringing it back home to some extent.
Yeah.
Venerable Owl says, to a layperson, they often seem to have the form and appearance of legitimate and legal documents. To judges, attorneys, and others versed in the law, sovereign citizens theories are meaningless nonsense. Yeah, it's like the HOA Karens.
Yeah, like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like this is how I deal with sovereign citizen types. It's like when I was outside the coffee shop, I'm well away from the door. I order a cup of coffee, then to let the baristas know I'll go outside, have a cigarette, then come back in and enjoy my coffee. I'm standing way away from the door, and Karen pulls up. 25 feet away from the door. That stuff stinks, man. And she went on a fucking tirade. And I learned from my wife, the first thing I said was, "You are a wealth of information. Thank you." And then she kept going, and I learned from my wife, "Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're dealing with a sovereign citizen who's or anyone who's out of their nut. Don't deal with them. just get the fuck away from them, man."
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Thank you for making me aware of that. Thank you so much. You're so smart.
Yeah, I
wish I was as smart as you, and it usually puts them off. Going, what?
I've done that. I've done just that. Somebody going off on me and telling me how fucked up I am, and I wish I was as smart as you. I've answered 1,000 comments like that. Somebody telling me I'm a paranoid, fucking nutcase, whatever. I wish I was as smart as you.
But the problem is, it doesn't shut them up. It just feeds their anger, and they keep going. It's like, okay.
Well, yeah.
Are they related? Are they narcissists?
I don't know. Sure. Maybe.
Are sovereign citizens narcissists?
I don't know, but I've answered a couple different ways with. There's online, then there's reality, and online when people leave me shitty comments, I'll say something like that. Start off with, "I wish I was as smart as you," or "Maybe you could make a video and teach me the right way to do it."
Nope.
And never have seen a video. And then if they continue, which I've had several of them do this, they continue. And I type one single word to them, Rangoon.
Yeah,
Rangoon.
Vulnerable Owls put, yes, they are narcissists there.
Yeah. And I remember one guy, he continued this for like 2 days. Rangoon, why did you call me a Rangoon? It's the name of a fucking city in Burma, you stupid bitch. You know, I mean, and people fucked up, man.
Yeah. Their life sucks, so they go out of their way to make sure your life sucks too.
Right. Or try to.
It's sad for them.
Yeah, I just swat them like a cat with a fresh mouse. You know, just swat, swat.
Yeah.
So they play the victim card as well, these sovereign citizens. So if they're narcissists, do they play the victim cards? Are we you feed off people's emotions, you use their past hurt, pain to sort of bring you in, get you in to their control, their way of thinking.
I've looked extensively into narcissists, and they are masters of manipulators, but just don't feed into their game. You know, the best thing you can do with a narcissist is turn your back and walk away.
Yeah,
you know?
silence is a very good thing to do.
And they'll switch immediately to someone else that they can control because they want to feed you. They want to gaslight you to get a reaction out of you. And that's power over you. Don't let them do that.
Even getting a reaction from you is another way of control. So don't react.
Yeah, and as Venerable Owl says, they always play victim.
Yeah. And Dr. Jordan Peterson has got some really good talks on narcissists.
I watched one the other day. I watched a couple, and a few.
He's an expert with narcissists. I mean, he's beautiful, you know.
Yes, he very, very eloquently talks about them.
In fact, I've got a playlist on my channel about narcissists. I think it's a public playlist. How to deal with them, what to do, what not to do, how to recognize them. Recognition is a very important part of that.
So don't feed the pigeons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So treat them as you would how to deal with sovereign citizens. Treat them as you would anybody else. Well, obviously treat them with respect because you want respect back. But if they
will probably not show you the same respect back anyway.
Most likely.
That's our go button to say, right, I'm going to shut off here. I'm just going to walk by.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear my mom calling. I have to go. Or another one I've used. I've got to go.
My missus is calling me. I got to go. Bye.
I have to go pee. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
no problem.
Walk out.
Once you show them a little respect, they know they got you, so they're going to keep pushing it.
Yeah.
Is Verna here?
Hey, Verna, good to see you.
Yeah,
Shadow, Shadow, what's with you, man? You get all the pretty Filipinas. What the hell? Get all the pretty Asian girls on his channel.
I just figured that you would mention that.
Yeah.
That's strike 2 for you,
Bob. Damn it.
We're all going to be fired here at the end of this webcast.
Yeah. I'm expecting it. It's okay. Bring it on.
You're very welcome, Venerable Owl. No problem.
Yeah.
Because I never had this topic before, so I don't know that much either myself. So.
Well, we're learning. It's very good. We're learning as well at the same time, and we're sharing our ideas and.
Yeah.
I mean, here in the UK, we get all sorts of protests from all sorts of people. You know, it's climate oil change protests. You know, the more recent big protests we've been seeing from different countries and different flags, and it's gone stupid now. The division. It's kind of like division within division within division now. You know, even the people that are divided from the other side are divided. And then, you know, just total anarchy. We're saying some of them are anarchists. Did someone say they can be anarchists as well? Are they anarchists too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like they're the mentality of the Antifa people who
right, BLM, right?
I don't follow any rules,
same
any
mentality.
laws.
Just keep walking, just keep walking, and just in fact don't even go down that route. I mean, where I live, because it's very central, I'm always seeing the straddlers going home after their protests. So whatever they've been protesting about, I always get stragglers coming past my place and with their flags and still shouting that stupidness. Yeah, it's best to just sort of avoid those type of people, like Bob says. Just like, I mean, obviously, if you see one bleeding out and you want to help them, that's very nice. That's obviously because they're humans. At the end of the day, people talk about racism in this world, which is the most stupid thing I've ever heard. Because
I agree.
We're in the same race. There's only one race. There's a human race, with different colors, but people like racism. Like, no, the politicians and these people use it. All right, Chef. I know Chef's going to go. He's going up.
Go get a coffee. Be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting to hit the mute button on. No, I'm just kidding.
So, I suppose this. I don't know. Are they fanatics? Can we call them fanatics? Vulnerable Al?
No, they're just brainwashed.
Brainwashed. I mean, that's most of society today. Who the ones. I think the people that are less brainwashed are maybe perhaps the preppers. I think some of the most sane people I've met have been preppers because
except for the ones you see on TV that are made to look like whack jobs.
It's
the ones that just like, no, I'm just if crap happens, I'm good.
They made a documentary.
To do anything else? I'm just looking out for my family first, and me first, the family second, friends third, and then after that, I'll see what I got left.
I mean, have they put us in that kind of category, preppers? I mean, did preppers come under? Are they anything to do with sovereignty? Are we being sort of made out to be something that we want to live separately from the government? I don't know on that one.
It's whoever defines what a prepper is.
Yeah.
Certain people define it as a whack guy that thinks the world is coming to an end tomorrow and is, all armed up to the teeth and hiding in their bunker and all that stuff. That's the mainstream narrative.
Turn their backs on the government and things like that.
Yeah, that's the mainstream narrative. And that's what they try to portray, people who just were Boy Scouts. Be prepared. That's all it is.
Yeah. Never mind what the TV's saying. Perhaps there's going to be nuclear war. No, so
that's fine. Your government will help you. Yeah. Just walk over to the food.
Just keep working in your McDonald's job. Keep working in your job, and then the only time we're going to find out when it's happening is when it's happening.
Yep.
And by then it's going to be way too late. I'm just trying to connect sovereign citizens to the government. Is there a connection, Vulnerable Al? Are they?
He went for to get something to eat. So
he still sort of chats in the chat. He's still been putting some comments up. Oh no!
I don't think they're connected to the government. I think they're anti. If they are, then it's a CIA operative thing. But
I think the people that are in the government are actually anti-government because
they're anti-people.
Well, Starmer's done a good job on Labour. He's completely destroyed Labour, divided them, and it seems to me that there's people that are. I mean, what's deep state?
Yeah, another made-up term.
Yeah, just get prepared, guys. Like Bob was saying, get your med supplies. Like Shadow recently told us about the pamphlet that was given out in Sweden a couple of weeks back. Interestingly, there was one. PV sent me a text with a message from the Telegraph where it says that the French have now been issued. Thanks, Shadow. The French have also been issued with a 20-page pamphlet saying, "Get prepared for war, for invasion."
Yeah, I saw that PB sent the same thing to me. And I figured he'd send one to you as well.
Yeah, he did.
The French are also pushing for conscription now because nobody wants to join the military. So they're going to go grab everybody they can that's of, healthy males and shoot them off to the meat grinder. So that leaves their country in a deficit of strong men, so to speak.
Well, I've seen video footage of Ukrainians soldiers going to clubs and just hijacking people. Get in the van, get in the car. Come on.
Yeah. Throw them in, take them to the meat grinder, give them a weapon that doesn't work, and just put them on the front line to die.
And on average, these guys last half an hour on the front line.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. The brand new guys, if you make it through the first 2 days, you've got a pretty good chance of making it longer.
Oh, you're a veteran. If you go through 2 days, you'll be a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you make it a month, you can retire.
Yeah.
You can join the Navy SEALs. No, it's a joke.
Yeah.
No, they're awesome. The Navy SEALs are awesome. And yeah. Crazy stuff. And just putting us through a meat grinder. And
I'd say the only difference between the US and Europe, we've been sending our young men off to war overseas for decades now, which very bad. But the difference is that we as individuals can protect ourselves. The Europeans can't. They need to have military and law enforcement, but we can protect ourselves. That's the only real difference.
This is what is legal in the UK. This is it's not 3 inches, it's less than 3 inches, and it's a non-locking knife.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll do a little plug. This is the Grizzly Bushcraft knife, but this is what is legal in England. It's a beast of a little folding knife, batten in every kind of things like that. But like you said, over in America, you can protect yourselves. Here, I watched a video yesterday of this poor little girl, young lady. I believe it was in Leicester, UK, and basically she was surrounded by a mob of around about 35 to 40 youths, and they started harassing her. And she was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And they're coming in her face going, "What? The stupid youngsters these days." And she's like, I'm on the phone. They started attacking her. And just randomly, they just...
Yep.
They just basically want to destroy our cultures.
Those are the sovereign citizens from another country that don't believe in any rule of law except their own, and they do what they're going to do. So, yeah, you got that going for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that does that come on? So they come under sovereign citizens too. These type of people that are just.
I would think so. They came from another country. Yeah. They came from there to here and brought there here. So now here is becoming there. And there you are.
A classic example of that. If you guys want to check out what's going on in Birmingham, UK, the dustbin people have gone on strike because I suppose they're fed up. And literally, when the dustman comes round, everybody's rushing to the truck to try and give them the rubbish. And it got to a point where the police actually got into arresting some people to stop them from going to the dustbin. I mean, if you just Google Birmingham, UK, rubbish, and if you see what they're making it look like now, these sovereign citizens, it looks like a rubbish dump. And this is what's going on all throughout, they're putting people in beautiful little villages and just getting wrecked.
Look at Ireland.
Crime rate.
Yeah, Ireland's they're getting their butts handed to them because they just keep dumping people off. And everybody, if you're there, you must be Irish. Yeah, there's all that kind of crap going on now too.
I never thought I'd see the day when we got Conor McGregor in America talking about Ireland.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is a cage fighter, bit of a live wire, and he recently stood. Apparently now Ireland's after him. They're not happy. The Irish government that he spoke out and said something about the Ireland situation, but
yeah, it's a mess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's. I think we need world action. I think we need unity from the world. I mean,
herein lies the problem. We all know what it is. Everybody has a great idea. We need to do this, but unfortunately, you can't get a lot of the other people to do it because they're all afraid they're going to get in trouble and go to jail and stuff. So everybody may have the thought in their mind, but nobody can do it because 90% of the people that want to do it won't do it because they don't want to lose what they have. So, I mean, until some point where it's so bad, where you got, when you have nothing to lose, those are the ones you got to watch out for. If it gets that bad where everybody has nothing to lose, that's when everybody stands up. It's like, I got nothing left. So you know what?
I'll put something on the parallel with what you just said, Chef. People are afraid of losing whatever. And so they do nothing. And there's also on the same parallel, people are fucking lazy.
Yes.
People are fucking lazy. Somebody should do this. Well, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? That's why my next fucking check, I'm going to put it out there on YouTube. This is what I can do. I'm going to go by to one of my local churches and drop off some fucking medical supplies. Just drop it off. Here, keep this in the church if you would for medical emergencies. My donation to your church, and walk out. Those are the things that we can do. Now,
actually, that's a good idea, Bob.
They just want to talk. They just want to talk, and do nothing. Because I don't want to get too involved in politics, local level or whatever. But I can do that. I can do that easily. $30. I've got enough supplies dropped off at the local church. If somebody gets run over by a car outside of the church, somebody can go grab the supplies, plug an open wound. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, non-locking. She asked me to demonstrate. What do you mean?
Yeah, you said it's a non-locking knife, which means it doesn't have that little lever you have to push to close.
So basically, it doesn't lock when you open it. It doesn't lock, so it can sort of flip back at your finger. You've got to be very careful. I hate these things. I only use this very. I mean, I watched the guy batting him with it. He was like virtually trying to destroy it, and it's a really heavy-duty little thing, very inexpensive, but. If you're holding it like that and it comes back on you, ooh, nasty.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. We can't go and we can't make campfires. We can't go into the countryside, camping. You've got to be on, But I think I do understand that because the UK is a very small place compared to somewhere like America but in saying that, there are places I do believe in Scotland where you can actually go camping.
Hey, CB, good to see you, man.
Here's Shadow. I can give an example of a locking blade also in comparison. Just focus me on me here. This is a locking blade. I carry this in my pocket all the time. Okay, now that blade is
locked. Ain't gonna close.
And I have to push this to get the blade to come back and fold up. Yeah, that's a locking blade. That's the difference.
Right. Even my Gerber multi-tool has they changed that over the years too, because it was folding up on people, and you have to slide back 2 little levers and all the tools lock open.
Yes, my Leatherman
folded up on a screwdriver and stuff like that, and folded on my finger. I'm like, really? You're trying to push down and you push the wrong way and it folds up on you. So they put these little locks on there. They're great.
Right.
But I guess that would be illegal too, because it's a 2.5 inch or 2-inch blade and it locks open.
Yes, you're right. Slippery pickle. It's a spine lock. Yeah, that's the difference. It's a good question they asked. What is a locking blade? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's like here in the UK, if someone burgles, if someone's burgling your house and you beat them up, for example, but a little bit too much, you can get arrested.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Yeah. Even though you're getting burgled and potentially you could get sort of, I don't know, stabbed, killed, beaten up, on top of being robbed, you can't defend yourself, which seems to be really crazy. Oh, yeah, there's a guy here. Hello, police. Yeah, there's a guy here who's got a knife. He said he's going to kill me. Yeah. Hello. Yes, we're coming. Just wait there. Yeah, but he's got the knife out. He's coming towards me. Can I defend myself? Yeah. Well, just don't do anything. We're coming. Okay. Just be there. Be with
We will be there in 20 minutes. Yeah. Right.
And hide, hide in the closet. Run away and hide.
I'll be like, Bob, where's those bandages? Bob. Mm-hmm. Where's those bandages?
Bob will say, I told you to put a bucket of them next to the front door.
And it's not funny, though. I mean, people today, you're hearing it every other day. I mean, back in the day in England, if someone got stabbed, the whole family gets around the TV. Oh, no, someone got stabbed. Oh, no, but now it's just normalized.
Yeah, but the person who did the stabbing was a sovereign citizen from another country. So that's okay. He didn't know the laws here, so we'll just let him go.
Oh, someone was saying in court, someone was thrown out of court because they were hurting the feelings of the sovereign citizen.
Yeah. I remember reading that one.
You have to leave the court because you're hurting this mass murderer, axe murderer, serial killer's feelings.
Well, at least we're sort of staying on the sovereign content.
It's not an easy subject, as you heard me say. Well, I'm not really know what is the definition, and then Bob came on and said, "What is the definition?" And then
that's a long definition, and there's a lot of speculative information in the definition, so there's that too. I'm not saying they're good, bad, or other. I'm just saying everybody's definition's a little different, and they put their own reasons in there and things, and like the ADL, and which is a whole nother bag of crap I won't talk about on here.
Now I'm gonna have to start watching you now, Chef.
I'm pretty good at keeping my words generic. You all know what I'm talking about.
Well, I'll finish the smoke with you guys and go over to the coffee shop and look at those cute little butts and legs and see if I can have a conversation with a sovereign citizen,
Yeah, there you go. What is a sovereign? Oh, let me tell you all about it. You can be one too. Go get your birth certificate and blah 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 blah. Yeah, that's a whole. Yep.
I've heard of that stuff too. Yeah, I hear online more than any other times. And da 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 da. It's like, why do you want to make your life so complicated? Just keep it simple, man.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
Go grow some fucking flowers or something, man. I'm not a hippie or nothing like that, but it's like, okay, you do you, and I'm gonna do me.
Yeah, go plant some rhubarb, Bob. Oh, you already did.
There you go. Yeah, I already did. Planted 4 of them the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. I was never a rhbarb fan. If it's with strawberries and stuff and a jelly, maybe, but even then I can still taste the bitterness. And is it good for you? Yeah, absolutely. Do I like it? No, not really.
I don't plan it to eat it. I mean, it's there if I need food, it's there. Right. I can eat it. But it's ornamental because, man, those leaves are this big. They're just fucking beautiful plants. They're just huge, beautiful plants.
They get flowers on. They get white flowers on them too, don't they? If they get big enough.
Yeah, but that's because the plant is going to go to seed and then die. So I go and cut that off and throw it out in the grass.
Right.
But I plant it because it's ornamental. It hides the tree frogs that eat insects, and
hey, Thor, good to see you, brother.
At the end of the season, I pick it, throw it out in the grass, and run it over. Use it for compost.
Yeah.
Hey, Thor. Good evening, Thor.
God, CR. Bob's going to plant some knowledge here.
Okay.
Now I'm expecting you put a second for that.
That's 2 CA. I haven't been able to fire that freaking guy for a while now. How long has it been? I've got to fire him at least once a week, man. It's on my schedule. CR, you're screwing up my schedule.
I just got my black belt in partial arts. I'm good at not finishing anything.
Anything, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll beat you up tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll beat you up at some
I'll
point.
finish you later on, right? I've got to go to my mum now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Bob's house.
Yep.
I'm gonna sneak to Bob's house in the middle of the night with a weed whacker and cut down his rhubarb just to piss him off.
I'll fucking call in a B-52 and airstrike your ass, man. I still got friends in the Air Force, so you better watch it, man.
B-52. I thought he was going to say a C-30. What is it? A C-30, C-130? What are they called? The gunships?
C-130 Hercules.
Yeah, that's more accurate. But for Chef, I'm taking out your whole fucking city, dude. Saturday.
I just want to make sure he's gone.
It doesn't mean it for any governments out there. He doesn't really mean it. He's not a nutcase. Okay, he doesn't mean.
He's also not a general in the army that we know.
I'm not in the Air Force anymore. I have no. I'm gonna get I want you to go and bomb. That ain't gonna fucking happen, man.
He's got his super secret, top secret.
Yeah.
Red phone in the corner there. He can call in and get anything done he wants. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, right. Oh, dude, I've run into people like that here on YouTube who are so fucking delusional. Oh my God, man.
I'm gonna call my friend and he's gonna come over to your house and he's gonna bomb your family and blah blah. It's like, okay.
In fact, Shadow was at Maria's today. There's a guy here on YouTube here, Billy Jack. Good for him. He's out traveling. He's a guy around my age. He's out traveling in Southeast Asia for his first time, and he's having the best time of his fucking life. On one of Maria's shows, there was a guy who attacked Billy Jack and saying, I'm a Navy SEAL. I mean, the guy's like 75 fucking years old. I'm a Navy SEAL. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to beat you up and all that. And so Billy Jack just typed in he typed in his name and his address. Come and bring it. I'm a Navy SEAL. I'll kill you if I can stand up straight.
If I can stand up straight.
Yeah, as soon as I can find my dentures, I'll kick your ass.
I'll bite you. I'll bite you.
Hi, Selena.
Oh man, some of the characters you run into. Oh, here's life for you. Here's my life, right? Okay. We've been living in this house for a couple years now. And the screen door, when we bought the house, the front screen door did not have a key. And, all right, so we'll just deal with it. You can lock the front screen door. And I got locked out. And my wife is on graveyard shift and she wouldn't answer the phone, so I had nobody let me in the house. She locked the screen door and we don't have a key. So she took the fucking lock off and threw it away. And the other day I ordered a new one, installed it, and it's good to go. And the wife came home from work and I go, "Did you notice anything different?" This is my life. The wife's been bitching about no lock for how long? And I fixed it. She didn't even fucking notice.
You should have locked. You should have just locked it on her when she came home and go, where the hell did this come from?
You married guys know what I'm talking about. The wife will yip and squeal about something for 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. Then when you fix it, they don't even notice it.
When Trump
in my house, it goes so long where it wasn't fixed. When it finally gets fixed, it's a massive surprise. Holy crap! When did you do that? 20 minutes ago. I finally finished it.
Yeah. And she came in and she sees a key sitting where she eats her dinner. There was a key there, and I go, "What's this key for?" "What's for the new lock on the front door, on the screen door." Oh, you fixed it? Yeah, you just went through the fucking door and you didn't see it.
There's no hole there anymore. You didn't notice that?
Yeah, you didn't see that? You married guys know what I'm talking about. That's my life.
Yeah.
God, life is
God forbid you don't notice her hair color change when she gets home.
Oh, you're screwed then, dude.
Yeah. My wife does it all the time, and she'll tell me, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to the hairstylist." I'm like, "Oh, okay." She'll come home, and I won't say a word on purpose. Well, what do you think of my hair? I'm like, "Oh yeah." And she's, "What do you think of my hair?" I was like, "It's on your head. Looks good." Well,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I had this and that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
sweetie,
no.
I said, you change your hair color like every other week. What do you want me to say?
You're a brave man, Chef. You're a brave man.
35 years will do that to you, and she'll laugh at me. Like, I know you
Selena
noticed. Like, I noticed
says
you
here,
walked in
guys.
the door. I'm like, who the hell is that stranger? Get the hell out of my house.
Selena says, I used to work for the government. We had a sovereign citizen that would constantly sue people, and they would send us 75 pages faxes, handwritten every week. Good times.
Oh my God, really? Oh God.
It's like, I'm suing you with the laws on the books because I don't like the laws on the books. Wait, what?
Yeah. I'm using the system to try and destroy you, but I hate the system.
Yeah, I don't follow the system, but I'm going to use it.
Yeah, I'm going to use it this time. Just like, huh?
Improvements can be made. There can, I mean, in everything there can be improvements with government, and like I was saying about the reins, it's down to the people to keep control of the government. I mean, isn't that part of the Constitution of America as well? The people's rights and
we the people. Yeah,
we the people.
There are ways of getting the laws changed. Just use the system that's available. But the people who are sovereign citizens who don't use the system break windows, light fires, kill people.
Yeah. And when the police stops them and they say, well, can you give us an ID? They're like, well, no. Have I committed a crime, officer? You know, they start getting all for this big half an hour conversation when they could have just gone here, bang.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, sir, thank you very much. Bye.
There you go.
How about just hand them your ID and
they
say, what
begin
did
to cry or get some bad story that doesn't hold at all.
And cops are people too, and you do something to, because you never know, this guy might be having a really fucking bad day, and you start screwing with a cop. These guys are big and strong, and they can really fucking hurt you.
Well, I mean, we haven't got we haven't got a lot of big and strong police in this country at the moment. Sadly, we're seeing them getting beaten up by sovereign citizens, and then other nice sovereign citizens are jumping in to help the other sovereign citizens, and because the public are so scared to do anything in any situation, they're just standing there like sort of, oh well.
No, they just stand there with their cell phone going so they can get the #1 top TikTok video tomorrow.
Get that viral video. Yeah.
At one time, I've got a little story for you. When Trump came to England on his first state visit, he flew over my house. The Marine One, there was 2 of them. They flew right over my house and the Ospreys. Obviously, he's got his little SEAL team with him, and they're literally landing in the park just like 2 minutes up the road from me. So I went there, and I've actually, I'll tell you about the first situation where I was in sort of the central London just filming. I just come out of the gym and I thought I was going to make a video for my YouTube, and this police car came by. They sort of looked at me and I was filming, and they'd done a 180, turned around, came back. I thought they're going to pull me over. They're going to pull me over. So they said, what are you filming? I said, oh, I've just come out of the gym, just had my hair cut in there, and I've got a YouTube channel. I'm making a video. What are you filming? I said, have I been suspected of a crime? He said, no. I said, am I free to go? He said, yes. So that was the quickest audit in history. It was about 30 seconds it lasted. So I thought, yeah, wow. You know, because I don't know much about this stuff, you know, and I'm not one to be a pain in the backside to the police. I don't want to be, you know, I think law and order is necessary. And I think those that are making the law and order are actually gone stupid. Anyway, coming back to the Trump visit, I was in Regent's Park, and I tried this again. But I was just walking through, and I never knew no one there. There was loads of people, loads of police, loads of security, and they fenced off this area where the helicopters were landing. And I was walking past, and I was just hello to people, and then these two high up police officers. They weren't your regular policemen. These were high up police, and they said, "Do you know that guy?" I said, "No." Why are you talking to him? I said, "I don't." I said, "I was just saying hello. That's all." And he went, "You got any ID?" And I said, "Have I been suspected of a crime?" But I realised, like you just said, Bob, you know, you got I don't know whether they were having a bad day, but I could tell he was going to arrest me. You know, he was going to arrest me if I continued with this. I could just tell he weren't like that sort of simpleton policeman in the first situation. But I just whacked out my wallet, said, "Here," said, "Don't bother," because I could see that he was because he was probably had extra terrorist laws and what have you.
Yeah, you said hi to somebody, a complete stranger. Therefore, you might be in cahoots with him to do your surround and pound or whatever, and you're just trying to make contact with all your people. Yeah, you're the ringleader.
Yeah, because I never knew this guy. It basically they were having something with this guy, and then
Maria, good to see you.
Like you said,
Maria.
they may have thought that I was connected with him, but I wasn't. I didn't never see the guy before in my life, and I knew this policeman was going to take it further. I could just sense it. My discernment. I thought, just give him your what's it, and don't try out this silliness now. Order in at this particular moment.
I've never had any problem with police officers. When they ask me a question, I just tell them the truth. You know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm taking the helicopter's landing. I'm taking pictures of the helicopter. Isn't this cool? Isn't this cool?
Yeah, I never seen this before. This is cool.
But I wasn't filming anything. I wasn't filming. I was just walking through. I was just walking.
You didn't have your phone out filming. If you had that, they would have left you alone. But no, you had to walk by a stranger and say, "How are you?" And that was code word. I just went, "Hi. Are you ready?"
I was saying hello to lots of. I'm a sociable person. I mean, you know. Yes, they're also under a lot of pressure in high stress situation. If they don't have proper training, they are defensive or reactive, and they can be. I sense that this guy was a real. I better be careful with my words. I could sense that this guy was a real sort of power. You know, he was gonna exercise his powers on me. He's probably on that day. Well, you know, he looked a bit this or whatever. I'm just a local who's just happened to see these helicopters landing, and I went for a walk in the park. I mean, I took a little bit of a liking to Trump more recently. You know, especially when he says things like, "I'm not the boss, he's the boss," and you know, he acknowledges Jesus Christ. And also recently, he chucked out the. From the army, I don't know. I left a little pause there for you guys to fill in the words. He chucked out certain people from the army.
Hey, Thor. Good to see you.
Thor.
Hey, Joe.
Well,
how's it going, guys?
Not bad. What's up in Canada today, man?
Besides still a bunch of snow.
Lovely.
I figured.
Hi, Maria.
I figured.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was on a live one day, and as some of you guys know me, my wife and two of my 4 kids are from overseas. They're legal. They came in here legally, you know, and 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 the Donald is rounding up the really bad guys and clearing our prisons out and sending them away. Get the fuck out of the country, leave. And someone on a live was saying, well, how can you claim this and do that, do this? And I said, you know what? It's so fucking simple. You want to come to the States? Go to the embassy. Follow the process.
Loads of people have to go through the process.
And you will be able to come to the U.S. Just go to the embassy and follow the process. But that takes years. Yeah. It takes years to get it done. But once you get here, you're legal. You follow the process once you get here, and you don't have to look over your shoulder ever again. You're good. That's it. That's all it takes.
Yeah. So if you're not committing any crime, you've got nothing to worry about. I like simple.
That. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no point getting into a silly situation when you see some people. They're like, I don't have to give you my license. It's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I was a driver many years in this country, and if you're pulled over by the police, have you got insurance? Yes. Can you your license? Yes. Here you go. Boom. The quicker you do that, the quicker you go. If you sit there,
you hand it to him, and does it say, "Can I see your ID, please?" It's like, yeah, sure. You dig for it, and as you're handing it, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
Keep me in the loop here. If I did something I shouldn't have done, I'd like to know about it, so I never do it again. And usually they calm down pretty quick.
Yeah, if you're right, Bob. If you've got someone who's having it, you've got certain people, certain police just won't have any of that. They'll arrest you. They will. If some like the first situation, I think the guy was a rookie. I think he was just a new policeman, and I think he was surprised that I even said to him, "Have I been suspected of a crime?" And he said no. So I said, "Am I free to go?" He said yes, and I just walked away, and it was like the quickest audit ever, 30 seconds. I wish I recorded that.
Mm-hmm.
But I genuinely was in the gym, went to get my hair cut after, and I've got a YouTube channel. So, but at the same time, there are situations where, like with this Trump visit, these police they probably got extra powers and to arrest people.
Another thing, if a cop asks you, "What are you filming?" See that fucking, she's showing her tits over there. Aren't there those the greatest tits you ever seen? And the cop will turn around and and then you walk away.
Sorry, ladies, we might have to warn Bob. We might have to warn Bob there.
That would be a strike 3.
That's a
strike
3.
Bob,
Oh
you're
shit!
fired, Bob.
Strike 3, Bob. You've got one lifeline left. Hey Thor, what are your thoughts on sovereign citizens?
I'm
see what you've done to us, Shadow. We're like, sovereign citizen. Definition. Sorry, Thor.
I'm dealing with a whole bunch of feedback. Like I'm dealing with like so much echo right now. I need to jump backstage and fix something. Something's going on. I'm
all right. Technical issues, yeah.
Technical issues. You see what you've done to us, Shadow. You've given us such a good subject that we're all having technical issues.
Yeah.
he's hearing the voices in his head, and they're arguing again.
I hate when that happens.
What?
It's nothing wrong on my side. So
he's gone. He's gone now. You frightened him off.
No, he's in the backstage.
Yeah, he's got his computer headphones, and his microphone is probably still on too. So
yeah, probably. Yeah.
There, you better now.
Not sure yet. We'll have to see what happens here as soon as someone else starts speaking, whether the echoes continue or not.
Echo. Oh, sorry, that was me doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Come on, Shadow, join in. Come on in the chat.
No.
Yeah, the echoes are still going.
Thor would be crazy if everybody would do that.
The echo sovereign citizens.
I've never had this before when I've jumped on with Shadow, so I don't know what's going on.
You have external speakers?
No, I'm going to jump off and
refresh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might work.
Yeah.
Okay, goodbye.
Hello again, Maria, my friend Maria. Yeah.
So my wife got pulled over one night. She stopped at the liquor store, gets in the car, goes about 100 yards to make a right, realized she left her phone sitting on the counter at the liquor store.
Oh.
Didn't come to a complete stop, made a right on red, and cop was right there and pulled her. And there were two of them in the car. The driver was the rookie. The older guy was training him. Rookie gets out and says, you know, do you know why I pulled you over? And she was all angry and she was freaking out. And do you know why I pulled you? She's like, I don't. You didn't come to a complete stop. Have you been drinking? Meanwhile, there's a bottle of vodka and a bag sitting on a seat next to her. And she's like, where are you coming from? She's like, the liquor store. I'm heading back over. So you have been drinking. So the guy, the other cop finally came over and tapped the guy on his shoulder and said, let me take care of this. He said, meanwhile, she's got all her nurse's cards hanging from the mirror.
Yeah.
And he's like, ma'am, do you know you went through a red light? She's like, I literally left my cell phone sitting at the liquor store right there. She could point to it. And I'm just trying to get turned around so I can go back and get it. And he's like, okay, ma'am, you made a right on red, but you didn't come to a complete stop. Please have a nice evening and don't drink and drive. She's like, I'm not. The bottle's right there. It's still in the back of the receipt. I haven't opened it. Not at this point. As soon as I get home, it's getting opened. And he let her go, and she went back and got her phone and went home. But the rookie was just out of school, and he was out of control instantly. Just wanted to start showing his force, and she was freaked out. And we talked about it for hours.
I'm all good. I'm back.
I'm all good.
That's awesome.
What I realized is I did like the YouTube beginner, the StreamYard beginner thing. I still had the YouTube open while I had the StreamYard. Yes. All of us have actually done this before.
Yeah. You can turn the volume all the way down too, but still leave it up a little bit, but you still get an echo back, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
I just go, sorry, I'll pull it up on my phone and leave it on mute over there. So that way.
Yeah, I've got my phone and there's my TV right in front of me. And but I've got the TV turned right down and I've only got my phone up volume.
Nice.
And I'm also watching it on the laptop.
Nice.
So Thor, do you know what a sovereign citizen is? Let's just go with no, because none of us really have a good definition in our heads of what it is.
The problem is, like, I think what I heard before and what has been discussed before is there's people who think they're sovereign citizens. And for me, I'm pretty libertarian, right? So for me, minimal government, that sort of thing, stay out of my life. I'm going to do my thing. Mm-hmm. However, there are things, yes, we do need government for, unfortunately. But when it comes to the sovereign citizens, it's like, I am my own state, or I am my own country, or I am my own thing. Well, that's fine and dandy. But as soon as you start using our roads, start using the mail system, start using the legal system, you start using all those things that are provided by taxpayers, guess what? You're kind of cheating yourself into thinking that you're a sovereign citizen, but you're using all those other advantages.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's one of those where, you know, when you look at, I'll use farmers, for example, because I homestead and I know a lot of farmers, you know, where there's grants and stuff for farmers to use to be able to build, put up silos or buy new equipment or that sort of thing, right? It's like, you know, we're going to grant you $50,000 for this new project. Why did you take the money if you're so against government grants? Well, because everyone else is taking the grant. I'd be screwed myself, and I would lose out if all my neighbors who are farmers took the grant and I didn't. So as much as I'm against the grants and against that kind of stuff, I still have to participate in the game to get ahead. So it's one of those that I think, I don't know, with the sovereign citizens, it's completely off the map because you're asking others to provide for you and you don't want to participate at all.
Yeah, just give me.
Yeah.
Give to me. Yeah.
Which is fine if you were your own island.
And you're not, yeah. Mm-hmm. I hear you, Thor.
If you buy an island and you're there by yourself and you're self-sufficient and whatever, but as soon as you start using government services that are provided by the rest of us taxpayers.
Yeah. That's what the people in this, there's gypsies in this country. They're called they're travelers. They call them travelers, and they say, "Well, we don't."
Suddenly, I'm like, "Oh, Brad Pitt, hi!
I'll point you for it. I'll point you for it. Come on, I'll point you for it."
Yeah. What was that movie?
That was
Fight Club. Fight Club, wasn't it?
No, that was
Bugs Bunny.
Bug.
I like your dag. Your dag. Your dag.
Yeah.
Which is dog, but a dag.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, they say, well, we don't collect any benefits. We don't get anything from you, so therefore you don't get anything from us, kind of thing.
Right.
That's what you're saying, Thor.
Well, that's just it. It's like you kind of take that the gypsy, that
travelers.
mentality. Well, it's great that you want to live free and that sort of thing, but once you start using
the public stuff,
laws against itself, now are you really living free, or are you being hypocritical?
Hypocritical.
Well, a good example is they'll use the tarmac road that's been paid for by the tax people,
right?
The roads, and then they'll use a horse and cart. And if a policeman stops them, they'll say, "Well, wasn't the horse here before the road? Wasn't the horse okay? So fair enough. Why don't you ride off the road then?"
And they'll go set up in a farmer's field or someone's backyard who has a bunch of property, and then start, grazing their animals and that sort of thing. That was it.
Snatch.
It was Snatch. Yes.
Snatch.
What a great movie. Yeah. But yeah, it's like in that situation, it becomes very hypocritical to try to live off the land as a free citizen, that sort of thing. But then when it benefits you, to start taking from others.
Or using the facilities as well.
Yeah. 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 And for me, like I said, I'm very libertarian. So less government, the better it is. Like, if you want to cut my taxes in half and you don't want to maintain the roads, the government doesn't maintain the roads anyway right now in most of our countries. So to me, it's like, cut our taxes in half, stop providing for other countries, stop providing for stuff that you're actually not really providing us. So for example, here in Canada, they continue to tote about free healthcare. It's not free.
It's not free.
We have to pay for the ambulance rides. We have to pay for a ton of medication. We have to pay for other stuff. When my grandson slid his head open, he fell and hit a coffee table, busted his head open. I took him to the hospital, 8 hours to get stitches. And then by that time, they're like, hey, guess what? 8 hours has gone by. We can no longer do stitches. So why am I sitting there for 8 hours anyway? Like, this is the kind of stuff where, you know, I agree with, I don't want to say I agree with sovereign citizens, but I agree with that kind of mentality where it's like so full-blown libertarian that the government, in my opinion, is there to provide protection for the country itself. The government is there to provide better things for the people of the country. The government is there to provide exports of natural resources. The government is not there to look after roads and, yeah, basically they said go home. So he's got a little scar in his forehead now from where the gash was. So it's like, yeah, welcome to free healthcare.
Well, we were talking about something like that earlier. Bob was mentioning as well, having your own first aid kit, your own suit, have a suitor kit, get some first aid training. If you haven't done any first aid, I was a non-blue ambulance driver, and I've done loads of different sorts of courses. I worked with oxygen, I worked with dialysis patients, and I just basically took them to the dialysis machine, left them there for a few hours, and then took them home. But I was trained in certain things like oxygen, and I was thinking about being a paramedic, but
So when this happened, I was at my
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So when this happened, I was at my parents' place. They're not set up like most of us are set up. I have lots of buddies who are combat medics. I have good friends who started a company called CTOMS. CTOMS is run by ex-Canadian military who basically wrote the book on TCCC in Canada. So for me, we're pretty set up here. If it had happened here, I would have probably taken him to the hospital to see about stitches. If that was not happening within the first hour, probably would have brought him back here and done things myself. So we have like the Band-Aids on hand where, you put them on and they're like stitches, you pull them and it tightens everything up. We have our own raw honey on stash here. And there's people who are probably out there who are like, raw honey. I'm like, I stabbed myself in the leg when I was butchering one of our cows. It went 2 inches deep. I cleaned the wound and I stuffed it with our own raw honey.
It's an antiseptic.
Now remember, Thor is not a doctor. This is for chatting purposes only.
Exactly.
Good one, Chef.
Yeah, all this medical advice that
This is not medical advice. This is just
this
something
is my
that,
his experience. He's sharing his experiences.
Yeah, that is the difference between advices and experiences.
Yeah,
that's a total difference.
If I was here at my place and my grandson had split his head open, things would have been a lot different. I was at my my parents, so my grandson's grandparents. So we were there, took him to the hospital, and it was a cluster F. And, it's like, it's one of those things where Canada, when we get going on stuff, like we've all heard about the new stuff about tariffs and other stuff and the US and Canada fighting. It blows my mind when we are like, yeah, Canada. No, there's so many things that we can improve on, and one is definitely the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Just a second. Well, I'm gonna throw this out, then I'm gonna go to the coffee shop. You can gather some medical supplies and gift it to your grandparents.
Yeah.
Drop it off. Yeah.
Yes. I have.
Good deal.
Yeah.
That's what makes the difference right there.
Yeah. The problem is again, it comes down to knowledge. So being able to use the knowledge you actually have, to use the equipment you have, to use the gear you have, to use the medical supplies you have. You can have all the gear you want, and I'm a big gear whore. So if you have tons of the gear, but you don't have the knowledge how to use it, the gear is totally useless.
Yeah.
Well,
PV brought it up as well about dentist. You know, you could have a dentist, but if he hasn't got the surgery, it's pretty useless.
All right, guys, I'm going to bounce out of here. I didn't get a chance to fire CR today. Damn it. Damn it. But I did get fired. Shadow fired me today. I had 3 strikes. So.
Well, you mentioned.
Yeah. I said tits. So that's what Shadow fired me.
Fire him! Get him now, Shadow! Quick before he leaves.
Peace out, you guys. Good to see you again, Thor. Later, guys.
Yeah. Later.
Hey, when in doubt, use duct tape.
It works for everything,
including duct.
You can make those little suitors like you said. If you haven't got stitches, suture kit, you can actually cut out one of those. You cut it out in the shape of those. They cut wounds, and you can actually make it with duct tape.
Raw honey and duct tape cures everything.
Yes, fine.
That little crazy glue. Yep.
Yeah, that duct tape not fix. That is beyond repair and.
Well, we can use it against the sovereign citizens too to shut them up.
Yeah, that too.
How to control them? How to deal with sovereign citizens? Duct tape.
Guys,
I've got the answer. Shadow.
I just saw a comment. I don't want to get too political, but I just slippery pickle. When did you guys elect that banker, Mark Carney? It was like, I think it was like 150 people, 150,000. I don't know what it was. It was like a small percentage of the Liberal Party elected him. Like, it was not Canada. It was the Liberal Party of Canada that elected him. They got rid of Trudeau. Trudeau's like, I'm going to retire. And then they brought in him, and he was like a shoo-in. So it was not. So what? There's. What's the population of the U.S.? Any idea offhand?
Over 300 million, probably.
So Canada is like 1/10 of the U.S.
Yeah, you're basically the size of a state. Oh, wait a minute. Did I say that?
Yeah. So I'll get back to that in a sec. But so you shrink that down into even 1/3 of Canada is the Liberal Party. And then even like a small percentage of that voted for Mark Carney to take over. So it was like, I want to say it was like 150,000 people voted for Mark Carney out of the Liberal Party. So it's crazy. Anyway, so getting back, I used to own my own company, dealing with military stuff. We were down at SHOT Show the one year, and I went down to OpsCore. Do you know OpsCore? They make the helmets.
Right.
The helmets that most of the U.S. military wear. So I was talking to them, and oh man, this goes back way back when. So I was talking to the guys, and I'm like, hey, so I want to carry OpsCore in Canada. We want to be the exclusive distributor for Canada for OpsCore helmets. And the guy's like, all right, that'll be 100,000 unit order. I'm like, okay. So after I outfit the entire Canadian forces, which is 75,000 troops, what do you want me to do with the other 25,000 helmets? He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, our entire Air Force fits on one of your aircraft carriers. Like, we are not the U.S.
No.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
That's why you need the U.S. Sorry, I'm going to keep chucking that out there. CR is probably seething right now.
No, it's not. But, if you're feeling frisky, can always come down and burn down the White House down again.
Again?
I think it would be like the third time if it happened again.
Wow. Wow. Well,
but I think the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, we all have this. I don't know why we're all getting our knickers in a knot. We're all like brothers. So I don't know why there's such a pissing contest.
Just another way of creating division.
I think it is. I think it is one of those where let's see what kind of division we can create within the citizens to make them ignore what's really going on.
Yeah.
Of course, they're gathering up, getting ready for the Third World War, nuclear. It's going to kick off.
I don't think so.
No, it's 100%. Okay, remember, it's 100% sure, certain that it's going to kick off. Trust me.
I don't think so, because I think.
Okay. You better make sure you got a lot of that honey and duct tape. you need a lot of honey and duct tape. These people are nutters. They're nut jobs. They've figured out that war is a big business. Well, they figured that out a long time ago. They've always been using it, to just put people through the mincing machine, and they keep everything. The bankers got everything. The bankers funding both sides, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
they're funding both sides. So
again.
Yeah, and it's the same as Game of Thrones. What was that? Iron Bank funding both sides?
Yeah,
like why not? If you're
they fund both sides, and then whoever wins, that country pays them back. The other country they take.
Yeah.
Or they take the minerals, or they take the resources.
Exactly.
And then they're in debt for the next 100 years. I mean, Africa's still in debt. I think, isn't England still paying back America? Or they still owe them some money?
That's some crazy stuff.
Everybody's paying everybody through some bank.
It's a crazy thing that there's still, like you just mentioned, is that there's still some like World War II payments that are still being made.
Yep.
And in Canada, the income tax was brought in to pay for World War II.
Yeah, temporary, just like the United States.
Tax.
Yep.
Why?
Exactly. If you read, and I said this earlier, if you read the income tax law, whatever you want to call it, in the United States, which is like 12 million pages long, it still says in there that it's voluntary.
What?
Wow.
Oh yeah, and I forget what her name was. She was on. Somebody played her on YouTube talking about how it's voluntary, and we still need the people to volunteer to pay, or there's going to be issues. It's like, wait, what?
You need to drop that document. Like, you need to show us where that says that.
Get Trump to put it out there.
Oh, he won't put it out there. You know what? Don't get me started. Anyway.
Yep. Oh, for me, I think government should be administration of what the people want, not administration of what the bankers want or the higher powers want. It should be what is the benefit.
We just elected the Bank of England guy, Carney. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's all, and the funny thing is all these poor people who can't afford houses and can't afford this and can't afford that, and they're like, "Yay, the Liberal Party! Yay!" Now we have Carney in charge, who ran the Bank of England. I'm like, okay, so he's like a billionaire or trillionaire, like, really?
This is it. There's people
to help every poor person. If you believe that, I have some oceanfront property in Alberta to sell you.
They're helping themselves. What is happening is everybody's for themselves. It seems like the world is like the Titanic ship, and there's certain people that want the lifeboats for themselves. Yeah, and again, there was bankers involved with that as well. Chef, I won't say no more. I won't say no more on that one. Yeah, but yeah, for me, government should be administration. There shouldn't be two parties. That's division. Straight away, they've set us up to fail. You know, it's like a bottleneck. It's like a bottleneck. You've got like two doors. Vote for left, vote for right. So, but behind the two doors, there's a bottleneck. You know, they're going to still do the same policies. How is it that when you get like the Labour Party doing the same policy as the Conservative Party, and yet they're supposed to be against each other, but they're still passing the policies?
I just saw Iron Firehorse talk about Pierre Polyev, and I'm like, I'm not sure where he's going with stuff about boots not suits. The interesting thing is Pierre has come up with stuff, and the new Mark Carney for the Liberal Party has actually stolen his ideas. So the latest being, years ago, Pierre came up with, we're going to get rid of GST on houses. And now Carney's like, hey, we're going to get rid of GST on houses. It's like, what? That was already an idea. But to me, it's like, all government is horrible. So for me, when I vote based on my freedoms. I vote based on my job. I vote based on past experiences, past knowledges. So, yeah. Huga Homestead, I think everyone has lost their mind in the past couple months.
Well, yeah, especially with what they've been doing to the people. All these Wuhan laboratory stuff going around. All right, Chef. Sorry, Chef.
Don't get shadow banned.
They get people. They're driving people nuts. And well, it's part of it. It's part of it because it keeps the division going.
I think, yeah, like I want to say it's better for them to want us to fight against each other versus, fight the power.
It's all delayed tactics. It's all distractions. And every now and then they got everyone focused in on one thing going on in the world. And everybody's like, yeah, that's happening there. And then something else springs up somewhere else. Yep. It's like, and all of a sudden something else springs up somewhere else. And people are busy, they've got to go to work, they've got to take their children to school, they've got mortgages to pay. And, it's sort of like, it's very difficult for the people to keep up with what's going on, really.
Just make sure you put that in your profile picture on Facebook.
Yeah, do that, yeah.
I don't have Facebook.
Neither do I. Well, I haven't been on there in like 10 years.
I don't want the CIA to see my stuff.
I don't care. They already know everything about me anyway, so.
Well, they know everything. When we buy our shopping, they know if you buy Coca-Cola or water or meat or vegetable, they know exactly. So when I get money, I just use cash. I get cash and just go and buy my stuff. No one knows what I'm eating. But as soon as you put it on the credit card, they know what you're doing. And
anyway, so
I think we need government. We do need law and order, and we need some morals. We need some standards. You can't just have a free for all. I mean, that's what's going on now. I mean, for me,
It's funny you mentioned that, because I'm gonna kind of like go off here. The interesting thing when you talk about that kind of thing is back in the day when there were mines, there were farms, there was different productivity and that sort of thing, there were wealthy people who built roads. There were wealthy people who built things for their employees. So for us to continue to be on this road of we need taxes to build roads, we need the government to do this for us, we actually don't, for the most part. Because say we build a mine in northern Canada, right? The company that owns that mine, and you trust Mark Carney or Trudeau, Castro's son?
I don't trust any government. I don't trust any government.
No. I just saw that.
Back to it needs to be.
Shadow, stop putting those things up because I got distracted. Anyway, say there's a mine in northern Canada. The owners of the mine pay for the roads. They pay for the accommodation. They pay for food. They pay for everything for the employees to work there. So when it starts getting into we need the government to pay for all of our roads, all of our healthcare, all of our stuff, we don't. Because if these big corporations need employees, they will actually pay for the roads. They will pay for food. They will pay for everything that goes along to get the employees there.
I think that we are living like sardines. Too many people are living on top of each other, side by side, especially in the cities. There's a lot more space in the world than they make us believe. They're saying there's not enough space. There's too many people. So in some people's eyes, they want to cull people. So, I mean, yes, the government is gone rogue, sadly. They've gone rogue. And, I think more local, there should be more power for the local people to sort out their own stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And but sadly, again, people sort of giving too much power to the government and not taking their own responsibility. But this is what I was going to say about how there's much more space. If we all had our own land, a little bit of land, your own house, and you could grow your own stuff, but they don't want us to live like that. They don't want us to live. That's why they've drawn everybody to the cities, just to use them. They want to build, they're building the pyramids again. And, they're using the people to build this system. They've used the people to get their robots and the AI systems in place and what have you. I think there's a balance. I think it has to be, we have to find a balance, strike a balance.
Yeah, I definitely agree about that.
There should be some kind of balance but sadly, where everybody's given over the responsibility to the government to deal with things, they're going to deal with it. They're going to sort this out. They're going to do this. No, they're not. They're not going to. And you're stupid to think they're going to sort things out. We have to sort things out. But we're too divided. You've got the left, you've got the right, you've got LGBT movement, you've got BLM, you've got all these different kind of movements. Man cannot manage man. It's simple as that. Man cannot manage man.
And it's interesting.
We need a higher power. We need a higher standard.
It's interesting you said about government running things. It's like everyone in government is human. We all make mistakes.
That's right.
We all screw up.
Yeah, and they screw up majorly.
So asking the government to run stuff for us
is crazy.
to think that they're not going to screw up.
Well, I mean, we're hearing the same thing in the UK now. We're fixing the mess from the last government. And then the next government comes in. Yeah, we're fixing the mess from the last government. You bunch of, you lot are useless. None of you are fit for purpose. But the thing is, they're laughing at us because it makes money for them.
It's the same here in Canada, right? There's discussion in the thing about Mark Carney taking over for Trudeau. And Mark Carney's like, yes, Canada is crisis. We're in the dumps. We're like last in all the developed nation. We suck so bad. Everything is horrible. Your government has been running it for the last 10 years. So what? Like,
yeah, I see. I agree.
And the elites are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer. And again, that's what's happened. We've let go of the reins. We've let go of the reins of government.
Hey, UK Urban Prepper. Good to see you, Mike.
Like, we screwed up the last 10 years, but vote for us now because we have better ideas.
and the people are stupid because they trust them.
They do.
Maybe Starmer's going to help us out. Yeah, let's all vote for Starmer because we're sick of conservatives. And look at the mess that Starmer's. But the thing is, they're getting paid to make a mess. It's big money. Oh, Starmer, everybody's going to hate you. You're going to change policy. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Everybody's going to be upset. You're going to be a multi-millionaire though after, but you're going to have police safety for the rest of your life, security. You'll be a multi-millionaire. Obama was worth 1 point something million pounds when he became US president, and now he's worth 70 million pounds
a year. How are these guys so rich when they're only making $250 a year?
Yeah, because people invite them to come and speak in their corporations, and people invite them to come and sit on the board, and you go on the board 4 times a year, and some of them are getting 50 million quid a year.
Nah, it's simpler than that. They take taxpayer money to
Iron
buy.
Firehorse Carney has said that Canada is in crisis. Everything is horrible in Canada right now. That's why he's here, because he's a global elitist. And he will fix everything for us.
Yeah. what they want is cheap labor.
He will fix everything.
Corporations they want cheap labor, and that's why they're getting all these people traveling to different countries, because they've got the cheap. In England, I used to be a bus driver 20 plus years ago. The wages today is the same.
It's possible that you almost ran over me when I was visiting the UK.
Well, you remember me?
Maybe, because when I went, maybe it was my second time visiting the UK, and I still hadn't learned that drivers drive on the other side of the road. So
was you jaywalking?
I went across the road, definitely jaywalking, and I looked the wrong way for the UK, and here comes this bus, and it's like, oh my God. Oh.
I'm gonna die.
Yep, exactly.
Did you remember to bring your duct tape with you?
No, but I brought lots of changes of underwear.
See, in the U.S., the politicians use taxpayer money to invest in a company to create, $100 billion worth of something. And then all of a sudden they get a book deal where the book was already written. They get prepaid $10 million for this book. Nobody buys the book. They only print 1,000 copies of it, but they make their money. That's their kickbacks. It's called legal theft. They've been doing it forever in this country, and probably every other country too. That's why all these politicians are so rich. They don't do anything. They don't make anything. They don't create anything. They just get the paybacks because they sent $1 million down to Uganda to start a program for LGBTQ 3-year-olds. And then
The
all that
Liberal-
money, that
the
money
Liberal
never goes
Party-
there. It just comes back through legal law firms and that. And then they give a speech at a dinner for 5 people that pays them $150,000. And they do that 10 times. They're rich.
And
The Liberal Party
it
of
comes
Canada-
under human rights.
The Liberal Party of Canada paid something like $50 million to make signs to put up in Africa for people not to poop on the beach.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. That's what
$50
they do.
million.
And then the money comes floating right on back. It's legal theft.
Can you imagine the $50 million put into the homelessness in Canada?
Except they would wind up putting it into a fund or a group, and somebody running that fund and group to deal with the homeless. They give them $500 billion, and only about $100,000 will wind up going to the homeless. The rest of it goes out in administrative costs.
If they were running that.
Well, look at a classic example where all the money that was given to Ukraine, and then they're turning around saying, "Well, we never, America said, well, we gave you 200 billion."
Money.
Yeah, well,
they never got
that's how they wash money. It's all planned. All this kind of stuff is how they put money. I mean, they're giving the Taliban, what are they giving them? 20 million a week, 40 million a week?
Canada just approved $84 million to Syria, to the Syrian government, which is ISIS controlled now. They're like, hey, you're not so bad now. Let's send you $84 million and we're going to take you off the terrorist watch list. What?
Well, they are, man, you're going to get me started now. These people, you see, sadly, I think governments have become very tyrannical. Is that the right word?
They're all businesses.
That's all they are.
Hey, family.
Good evening, all.
What's going down?
Hi. Here's the thing, okay, with the government. Everything has a hierarchy, right?
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's a mayor or a government official or whatever, right? We focus on the people that get the most money, right? Here's the thing. If your government officials and everything don't get their free housing, don't get their free, food or anything like this.
Our prime minister is taking $1,500 a week in groceries.
Yeah.
$1,500
How much
Canadian from taxpayers to pay for his groceries for the week.
Yeah.
And that's
look at how many people is using food stamps. Look how many people are using government assistance every day. In America, for every one child that a single mother has, she gets $500 a month for every child she has.
Yep, and
so
she gets even more.
You have people
if somebody does daycare for them.
No, they provide free daycare and all this stuff and everything.
I want to say that was like in the 70s, 80s, when the Democrats took office in the U.S., that they said they would provide so much for single parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, and here's the thing. Those single parents and everything that are on all these government benefits are living in Section 8 housing that don't get paid for. They get food every day. They're the first ones to get medical care. If they go in first and you're going in and you're paying with actual insurance like you're supposed to do as a correct citizen, you get seen second. They got a better insurance than you do, so they get seen first.
Hey, and I'm in Canada. I haven't had a doctor in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking after the cheap labor. They're looking at the globalists around the world. If you've got a workforce of 10 million people and they're making, say, $500 a week, And then you've got another million people that are prepared to work for £200 a week, 250. What's the globalist going to, what's these corporations going to do? They're going to choose the cheaper labor. So, you know, the globalists are using.
They will go. It's just like there's a place over here in Texas called Belden Roofing, right? Their workforce comes from Mexico on a 6-month work lease. Okay, they get paid just as much, if not more, than a regular citizen of Texas. And guess where that money goes?
We've had that on the east coast of Canada.
To Mexico.
In Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, the east coast of Canada, the government subsidizes wages. So new immigrants come in, they take McDonald's, Tim Hortons, Wendy's, all of those jobs, and they're subsidized by the government. The government pays half their wages. So if a new Canadian coming in can take those jobs and make half the wage paid by the government, all those Canadians that are newborn that are Canadian, so they're born in Canada, they're now 15 years old, they're Canadian. They go out to get a job, they can't because the government doesn't subsidize a Canadian's wage. So a 15-year-old Canadian cannot get a job at McDonald's or Tim Hortons or Burger King or anything because the immigrant has come in and the government has subsidized half their wage. So McDonald's can say, I can pay an immigrant $7 an hour, or I can pay a Canadian $14 an hour.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's payroll tax and stuff like that. They don't pay the payroll tax like in Texas.
Right. That's the reason why the great economy is so screwed up. You have people that keep whining and crying and saying that they need more money, more money, more money. Look at California. They are continuously whining and crying and saying that you have people working at Starbucks working for almost $25 an hour at Starbucks and saying that they're not making enough money. But look at, in the early 2000s,
you take any of
Seattle,
that and you say, how much tax is taken off? How much tax are you paying for everything?
Yes.
It's not a question of how much any of us are making in wages. It's a question of how much the government is grabbing from us in taxes overall.
Well, here's the thing. The higher you make it,
money, I'm not making enough.
Yes.
No, the government is taking too much. So shut up about how much you're making and start complaining to the government that the government is taking too much from you.
Well, here's the thing. Every time when you raise the basic human's value of work, everything else increases in price. Everything. Gas, food, clothing.
Yep.
Everything increases when your pay increases.
Exactly.
Look in the 90s, minimum wage in 90% of the states and everything was $8 an hour. $8. Okay. And people were still surviving. People were still able to work on $8 an hour and still live and pay their rent. In the early 2000s, in 2001, Boy Meets Girl showed the housing market and everything. In Seattle, you could a basic monthly pay and everything for just a basic job, and I'm talking about fast food or whatever, was almost $3,500 a month. You could go and buy a 3-bedroom house and everything for $90,000. Now in 2025, you buy that exact same house now for $250,000, and the pay now is $2,500 a month. How does that work?
We're making more money,
Right.
but the government is taking more from us.
Yes.
I used to work in a restaurant many years back, and we used to throw away so much food. It was ridiculous. So I said to my boss, "Can I take some of this food and go and give it to the needy, Salvation Army or some homeless people?"
No.
She said no, and
Can't
she
do that.
explained to me why that they throw it away. So much food. It was terrible. You know, there's so many people hungry, and we're throwing this really nice food in the bin. She said, if we start giving the food away, the tax man's going to tax us more money.
No, it's not just that either. It's also just like here in Texas and everything, okay? In Austin, you know, there has been over almost 500,000 lawsuits against companies and everything for giving free food to homeless because they came back and said that we're suing you because you gave us food poisoning.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Unreal.
You cannot give away free food to anybody because if it's rotting or if it's not right or something's bad with it, it's still edible. But somebody is there's going to be a lawyer that is hopping on that ambulance riders. We call them ambulance rider lawyers.
Yep.
That need
ambulance
something.
chasers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
You
Exactly.
need somebody to sue a business to make that money. And the best way to do it is homeless. And it's the same thing as paying that guy to tell people.
When you get into the canning statistics. Wow, that's hard to say. Statistics. Yeah, one of you say that for me, please.
Statistics.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if you look at it, there's like across the U.S., because the U.S. has good statistics on that, is if you look at the canning stuff in the U.S., it's like basically 0% of people die from canning issues.
Well, you know why? Because
but however, everyone is like, oh my God, you need to can properly, you need to do this properly, you need to follow USDA, you need to do, it's like when you get down to it, there's like 0.0001% of people who die from actually home canning. Like basically 0 people die from it. It's like the stupid of the stupid, where they're like, they open stuff and it's like, oh my God, this thing, the lid popped off and there's already mold on the top. And
it must be still good when you eat it and die.
But guess what? I'm going to eat it anyway.
Well, you also have to realize the grocery stores and everything. They put a sell-by date on all these foods and everything.
Yeah, which is totally not.
Yes, it's
true.
not. It's not true because they have to produce it and they have to put a can.
They're regulated by the government to say this is how you have to sell things, and it's like you can stuff by this industrial method. This is good till they'll say this is good till 2027, but it's good till like 3025.
If you look at new age, like the new age pop top canning and everything, it has a rubber lining, a rubber plastic lining inside of the can.
What are you laughing about? Shadow's looking so happy and so.
He's waiting for me to kick in because you're all talking about the crap I deal with all the time with canning and home preserving, and yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Well, Shadow's I work in the grocery industry. Yeah. I know exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
Right. And well, like here, like Chef Boyardee. I got a can of Chef Boyardee, right?
So quiet.
That had a pop.
I've got something to ask you guys.
Yeah.
You know, all this money we're talking about, the individuals.
But wait, I want to hear Shadow say something, because Shadow's still like, he's laughing and he's like, he's got that grin and he's like, I know stuff behind the scenes of the grocery industry, and he's not telling. What are you not telling us, Shadow?
Maybe Bob sent him pictures of
Well,
if
if you read that,
sorry, Shadow.
I just talked to Icy on YouTube. That's why I'm laughing, because she says, definitely Palo Palo, everyone in my dreams.
Dude.
What? You lost me on that one.
Me too.
You don't have no idea what Palo Palo means.
No, I get like naughty.
I can give you an explanation on it. It's really painful.
Is it like naughty sex dreams?
Yeah, you get bend over and get spanked, basically.
Oh, okay. So like handcuffs and spanking and benches and like chains and whips and stuff.
And there you get the answer.
Whips and chains, but civilization likes it.
I've got something to say. Like what all this money we're talking about that people are making. How much are these people at the top? They've got so much money.
Wait. Do you like spanking?
No.
Oh.
I was changing the subject. I was bringing us back onto stuff we were talking about, and all this money we're talking about.
I was kind of.
They've still got more money than all of us combined. What we don't realise, these people at the top, they got way much more money than us lot combined.
Yeah.
Yes, but
we're getting peanuts. We're all getting peanuts, and these people are getting the trees with the peanuts.
Look how many lawsuits. Look how many. How all the time that they're all the time in some kind of lawsuit with something about what they said on the internet, what they said on this. Most of that money that they're making is going to representation. Is going to, you know how much one of the
going. Yeah, see, we're gonna fit you.
Well, one of the sheriffs here in San Antonio. Okay, he makes like $250,000 a year, right?
Who?
Well,
what?
Just in his political act and everything, with all his signage, all the people that's calling people to ask for his vote. His name is Trulio, something like that. He's a Hispanic. He's a Hispanic sheriff, but he makes $250,000 a year.
Oh, sheriff!
Just in his advertisement and everything, he spent $1.2 million in just his advertising.
Wow!
Thing.
What?
So you got to realize it's more than them sitting back on this whole entire thing of wealth. Like if you look at half of these representatives and everything of government, they're not like mayors and senators and stuff like that. They're not sitting in, high Gucci suits and all this stuff. They're not, because most of their stuff is given to them for free that you see that they are driving around in. All right. It's the same thing. It's not like it was in Roman times where Rome had all the money and just, the Caesar was riding around in a golden chariot. It's not like that anymore. They have to pay money back out. And the people that you need to worry about is big business CEOs and stuff like that. If you're telling us that,
I disagree with you there on that, because if you look at some of these families, some of these families are stinking rich from going back to Babylon times.
Oh yeah,
Persian times. These people they don't need money. These people got so much wealth, it's ridiculous. All you got to do is look into the Orsini family, some of these families that were collecting.
because they know how to run money. It's just like here in
Babylon. It's called
Tennessee.
Babylonian money magic. This system of what they're using today, it's a con. Taxation is a con. You know, you're taxing somebody else on their labor, and it's all a con.
Taxation is theft.
Yep.
It's a
It
con.
goes back into your system.
It's like usury.
Taxation goes back into your
It's
system.
like usury is a con. Lending
In
money.
minute incremental amounts, it goes back into the system to take care of everybody that is completely worthless. That can't be a
Yeah, but they call people useless eaters. But at the same time, these inbreds have got a cheek to call us the lower class, what they consider to be the lower class people. They consider them they haven't evolved, and yet these people at the top think they've evolved. That's why they're in that position. They haven't evolved because they still, they marry their nieces. They keep the money in the family, as Rothschild boasted at one of his speeches. We keep the money in our family. We keep the love in our family. They're sick. These people at the top are really. Anyway, sorry, Shadow.
Okay.
No problem.
So let's
Talk about off topic. Wow.
Go ahead, Jeff. What were you going to say?
CR's question. What is a sovereign person? A sovereign person, I think, is someone who thinks they have the authority to run their own life, business, without any other outside influence.
Yes, without representation.
The problem with that,
the 1%.
The problem with that is that most of those people are those who do not have that. So they jump into those situations where they want to have their own stuff, their own freedoms, their own island without having their own island.
Well, I mean, look at Kitty Chesty, okay? He literally owns one of the Virgin Islands. Right? Yes, he owns one of the Virgin Islands.
Dude.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Him and his wife, Renee Zellweger.
What?
You know how many?
Kenny Chesney marry Renee Zellweger?
Yeah.
No.
Damn.
What?
Yeah.
Oh shit! No, I gotta go check with my wife on this.
Thor, how many whiskeys have you had, Thor?
I haven't had any whiskey. I'm into my rum.
What are you drinking?
I'm from Yard.
But here's the thing: you know how many taxes he pays to Canada? You know how many taxes he pays to Canada?
What?
Because he's an American.
Taxes in Canada. If anyone says we don't pay enough taxes, you're welcome to pay my taxes for me here.
Right. He went on retirement for going on 6 years or whatever.
Kenny Chesney?
Yeah. He does these concerts and everything.
Hold on. I'm gonna check with my wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
And get a refill. So you guys can talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, refill. You've had about 50 glasses of whiskey.
But he does these concerts, right? He does these concerts just for him to pay the taxes on his personal island that he owns. Like, we look and say, oh, these people are sitting rich. These people are sitting and doing this and everything. But no, they put just as much money, if not more, into what they're doing.
Not all of them.
90% of them do. 90% of them, if they run their own business, I'm not talking about CEOs.
They're going to put more money than other people. They've got much more money.
I don't think we're talking about every person that owns a business is stinking rich.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
we're talking about the people who are overly rich are the ones who've been hiding their
all
old
right.
money for everybody.
All right. Hold on.
Oh my God, man! The geezer's been drinking too much. You need to calm down with that drink.
Hey Thor, hit your
You need
mute
to
button.
calm
We're
down with
talking
that drink,
amongst
bro.
ourselves for a minute. No.
No.
This is Jaren's show, not yours.
So
I'll get on your show next week.
So Kenny Chesney only married Renee Zellweger for 4 months, and then it was.
Oh, okay. I thought he was still married to her.
Yeah, I would say, damn. Okay, yeah.
I thought they were still married, but
I'm kind of feeling both.
I haven't had TV and I haven't followed all these people in almost 10 years. So
did someone say Bill Gates gives all his money to charity?
That was a joke. It was a joke.
Bill Gates gives all his to what's her name, the secretary.
But no, Bill Gates does give to charities. He gives to
his own charities.
He just sent.
It's called a trust fund. It's called a trust fund.
He just sent 17 children on Make-A-Wish Foundation to somewhere in Mexico.
Which charity was on the couch when Bill Gates? Oh, what was her name? The intern that Bill Gates had like so many things in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
You guys know. Don't you dare talk to me about Bill. Babe, hold on, babe.
Hey, Jared, I'm going to leave this on you because I'm going to bail here because this is so far off topic now. And
Same here. I'm going to get up as well. I'm sure Shadow wants to get some rest tonight as well.
But I'm just trying to say that everything. I hate humanity just like y'all do.
I don't hate humanity.
Oh, I do. Humanity is the worst thing in the world.
I hate the evil. I hate the evil in the world, not the good in the world.
Humanity. That is humanity.
Yeah, but not
humanity
all
is the
humans
worst
are
thing.
on the evil path. There's some humans that are on the good path, and there's some humans that are on the bad path. And
90% of them are on the bad path.
Well, sadly, and the government who's supposed to be, teaching. Well, I mean, I'm a follower of Jesus. I believe in God, and sadly,
I was raised in a Baptist household with a Baptist preacher.
A lot of people, sadly, today are being directed the wrong way. There's too much freedom. You can do what you want. You can do anything you want. You can change your sex. You can do anything you want. There's no kind of and that's why we've got a lot of people that are running rampant out there doing anything they want. They've been given the green light. Yeah, go to another country on a dinghy. Yeah, go and take all their resources, and bring your friends. So that's what they do. They're only doing what the top people are doing.
Here's the thing. So I just went and asked my wife who Bill Gates was doing things with in the Oval Office, who he was having an affair with in the Oval Office, who the intern was in the Oval Office, who, gobble stuff in the Oval Office. And you know what? Bridget couldn't find anything. It was like Google just shut those search engines down. There was like, no, Bill Gates did not do anything.
Yes.
So it was like, oh my God, Bill Gates.
You know how much money?
Sexual affairs with someone in the Oval Office. It was his intern. And I'm asking Bridget to search it. And I'm giving her so many search engines and stuff.
You know how many, and that's where money comes into play. That's where all this stuff comes in.
And it's all shut down.
Yes.
There's like, if you search who Bill Gates had an affair with, who Bill Gates had sex with in the Oval Office, there's nothing. It's like, wow. Google just shut it all down.
That's the way the world is. It's just like everything. It's just like everything that,
Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't that Clinton?
Yeah, that was Clinton.
Who's talking about Bill Gates?
Babe,
Yeah.
Monica Lewinsky.
On that
It's
note,
okay. He's
Shadow, I'm
living
going to
in
say good night to everybody. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, no problem.
Shadow, and I've learned some new things tonight, so I appreciate you, Shadow. I appreciate everybody else on the panel. I appreciate you all in the chat, and take care of yourselves, and remember to prep, keep your preps, check your preps, and stay on the good path. Don't let them make you bad. God bless you
They've
all.
already made us bad.
No. Well, I pray that you turn back on the right path, brother, because
All right, I'll try.
you know we need good spirits in us, not bad spirits. Have a good night, and God bless you all.
It's not Bill
Take care, Dara.
Bye-bye.
Dara.
Yeah, Bill
See you,
Clinton.
Shadow. God bless. Thank
Yeah,
you.
God bless.
Bill
Thanks for
Gates.
stopping
I
by
said
there,
Bill Gates is Clinton. It's the same thing. It's all of them together. It's the whole cluster F.
I'm just saying, read history. If we do not want to repeat history, read history. Read
one reads
everything
history.
that
No one
was
reads
written about history.
No one gives a crap about history.
That's what I'm saying.
You
That's
can
why
read
we-
history till you're blue in the face.
Yes.
And no one cares.
Nobody cares because they say, oh,
over and over and over again.
yes, because civilization always does a complete turnaround 10 years later. It's the same thing with style. It's the same thing with clothing. It's the same thing with food.
Yeah.
It's everything. We forget. We are the most forgetful civilization in the world.
I don't know if we're forgetful as in we fail to see what's right in front of us, or we just we ignore what's right in front of us. We
ignore and forget.
Humans are so crazy because it's like, this was done to you, and they're like, oh, wow. What about so and so? It's all good. Yeah.
Oh no. CR, they're saying that there's microplastics and everything in our oil from millions of years ago. That microplastics were formed from the Cretan, from
millions of years ago.
Yeah, from the shells and everything of all the creatures and stuff like that died to create our oil. Oil was made from the body parts and the death and everything of plant life and sea life. That's only why we have so much of it, is because they all went together.
Is that my gods destroyed all life on Earth to create oil, to create microplastics, to be able to create PMAGs from Magpul.
Plastic is one of those things. Plastic has always been around. We were creating
my
plastic.
gods knew that PMAGs from Magpul would be the thing, so they were like, yeah, we got to destroy civilization to create PMAGs.
Well, okay, look, the rubber tree, the rubber tree in South America. What is rubber? Natural synthetic rubber is a form of plastic. And we were cutting down rubber trees and using their sap and everything to make stretchy bands and everything. Yeah, like we were making stretchy bands on clothing and all this stuff. Like you could see pictures and Inca carvings and everything of people able to wear full body molding suits because it was made out of rubber.
Oh, you go back to carvings and it's like,
everything in this world.
Are you religious? Like, do you believe in?
Oh yeah, I'm a cultural anthropologist, brother. I believe I was born in a Christian household and raised,
Okay.
I believe, in something. I just don't know what.
All right. So I'm not. I was raised in, I want to say, Christian, one God. No, I'm totally freaking pagan, heathen. I believe in multiple gods. So when we get into that kind of thing, it's like when you look at the history of Earth and what Earth has achieved and what Earth has become. So you look at history and all those different places like Africa, South America, all those places where all these different civilizations have developed and expanded. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure there was one God like the Christians believe.
Well,
we're way off topic, by the way.
No, I mean,
way off top.
Yeah. But I was just saying, to understand civilization, to understand this sovereign citizenship, you have to go all the way back in history. You have to go to it. There's been many names for people that want to be their own, not be a part of everything else. Now it's tiny homeowners. It's off-grid living. It's all this stuff. No, that has been around for centuries. Like, people, there's been multiple like the dramatic.
Shadow, I'm gonna totally take this off topic, but like a couple of comments in the thing is Jesus is not the way.
We don't talk like that. We just,
there's a difference between faith and religion, and the topic is people who want to be their own governments within a country that is already established.
Well, here's the thing, okay? The Byzantines, okay? The Byzantines had multiple different governments inside of their one civilization. There was four different government officials there for each and everything. Just like today, how we have a Secretary of Defense, we have a president, we have a Senate, we have all that. You know, that was created by Rome. The whole entire idealism of a president and Senate was created in Rome over 1,000 years ago. Like, instead of calling him a president, he was called the first citizen, because the first citizen is the voice and the speaker of the normal people. But how can you put a normal person, be a first citizen or a speaker of the people when you've never slummed it with blue collars, when you've never had to work, when you never had to see where my paycheck is going? Is this paycheck going to my light bill? Is this paycheck going to my car payment? Is this paycheck going to food? Government does not see that stuff. They want to hand out a little card with imaginary money on it and say, here's $250 a month. Go get food for you and your family. And people don't understand that if you have children, children eat constantly. Even adults eat constantly.
Oh my gods.
Like,
my three boys. So in my previous marriage, I had 4 kids. In my current marriage, I have 3 boys.
Yeah.
And they go through so much food, it's insane.
Right.
So we have the Highland cows. We harvest 1 Highland cow a year. We've harvested 2 pigs a year. We've harvested 50 chickens a year. And
Yep.
that has so far sustained us in what we need to do. However,
But if you had access to more food, your children would be eating more. They would be running in.
It's like
Yes.
The more we can put on the plate right now,
Right.
the more is consumed.
Yes, because they are growing. They are developing their body. You know, you can look. This is why population was so limited in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we have we have modern health, we have hospitals, we have all this
modern
stuff.
healthcare that technically isn't really modern.
Well, I'm just saying modern healthcare compared to healthcare in the Victorian era. Like a woman trying to give birth.
I would say is almost the same right now. But
like try to give birth. Giving birth in the Victorian era, if a woman had to have a C-section, she had a 25% chance of surviving. Just for the blood loss and everything.
You compare that to nowadays, and I would bet it's probably the same because our healthcare is so screwed up. It's not even funny.
But we have the ability to save that person. If somebody's bleeding out or whatever, we have blood banks.
If you have money, you can. In Canada, the UK, and the other places where we have free healthcare, you're screwed, right?
Well, it's like me. I had a ruptured what is it called? Not pancreas. What is it? They had to go into my stomach and cut it out. I had something rupture on me. And I was literally bleeding on the inside. And I had no insurance. Here in America, they took me in. They did the surgery. They gave me a whole entire blood transfusion and everything to keep me alive. But if just 100 years ago, I would have died. I would have died from it.
Hold on. UK Urban Prepper was asking if Thor was wasted. Yes, I am.
But he can still hold a conversation.
Does that change the conversation?
No. But to understand everything, we have to look at history. We do. If we never look at history, if we never look at what civilizations came before us, how civilization was created to what we are now. There was more advanced civilizations in the past than what we have today, yes. But here's the thing. Every great civilization has fallen. No civilization has ever stayed great forever. None. The Vikings, the Romans, the Byzantinians, the Mesopotamians, the Mayans, the Incas, they have always been destroyed. They have always been conquered, and they have always been moved in. They have always been adopted into another civilization. I mean, you could say it with the Celts, you could say it with anybody. There has never been one civilization that has lasted anything. Because for one is because there's another more powerful, more higher technology,
I'm pretty sure the Scots. Yeah. My Scottish heritage, we pretty much lasted a while.
Yes, everybody's lasted a while. I mean, look at Rome. I mean, look at Greece. Look at Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, by himself, conquered 90% of Europe and Asia, all the way into India. And that's where he failed. I mean, and he was a great tactician. He was great
awesome.
leader, but
To
he
the
still
most
failed.
I think I want to say he was like me.
Yeah.
And we'll get into some deep stuff here, but I want to say I'm pretty adept at military tactics, but I'm also, like people have said in the chat, I drink a lot and I see things and things happen. So you start to see things that, so I'm pretty sure Alexander the Great was like not only drunk and stoned and high and so
yeah, there was no
hell bent on all sex that he could get. So it's like you really have to take stuff into context of what's happening with not only the leaders that are leading you, but everyone else around you.
Well, like what you said about drinking and recreational use and stuff like that. Look at today. Today is the exact same thing. Everything is opening up and everything is being allowed and being okayed in civilization.
For the most part.
Huh?
For the most part. It's
I
like,
mean,
back in the 80s,
yeah,
we were talking about cocaine and cocaine's awesome and blah, blah, blah. And it really wasn't.
But I'm just saying the downfall of civilization happens when you allow everything to be free. The downfall, because
no,
yes,
it isn't.
Look at Rome. Look at Rome.
The downfall of what was that other word I was trying to say? Shadow.
Civilization.
Yes, I know, but what was that other word I was trying to say at the time? The downfall of civilization.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Bear with me on this. It is not what you just said, which I forget what you just said, but it is the corruption of the civilians who have taken charge of the government.
I mean, the downfall of Rome. Okay, the downfall of Rome.
So the downfall of Rome, if we want to get into it, the downfall of Rome was based on the corruption of the Caesars who were in charge of Rome. If you want to take the downfall of Rome, it was those who were in charge of Rome and the corruption of those who were in charge of Rome.
No, the true downfall of Rome was running out of money because they spent so much money trying to keep different countries in different positions.
Who spent that money? It was the
war engine. It was their war engine to keep countries under their control, like what America is doing.
Of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take that, and it's like the ones who are in charge of everything continue to pursue their goals of making their own money.
And that's what we're doing in today's civilization.
Bingo.
We started NATO. We've started all this other to help other countries with their war, to bring more allies. And instead of looking at our own civilization, which we deem unusable because of plenty of other things than what is needed, pacifists and all this stuff and anti-war, but that's a whole entire different subject. But the thing is Rome was still trying to hold its power, even though it was failing in money.
Power. However, it is the
corruption
of those who are in charge.
Well, it's also the smaller things that led to it. It was them opening their gates and allowing the Britons in.
Because the smaller thing is like an individual relationship. So, are you in a relationship with a woman?
Yes, I'm married. I've been married 16 years.
Okay. So, I would say that the corruption of Rome is the same as the relationship with a woman. Okay?
Okay.
So, if you take this from the start and you say, my relationship is awesome. I'm doing great. How is your life? My life is awesome. Okay. Wait. Okay. So then you start cutting it down and say, all right, well, my life isn't that great. I'm bitching about the toilet seat being up. She hasn't put the toilet seat down. She bitches about dishes in the sink and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The problem is not that. The problem is the overall feeling.
Yeah.
So if the overall feeling is that we're doing fucking awesome and we're doing amazing and we're conquering shit and we're fucking ruling the world and fuck yeah, then a dirty dish in the sink doesn't make any difference in the whole aspect of everything.
But the little things like that is what leads to anger and leads to multiple. Yes, the small things build up to a bigger rock. It's like a kidney stone. It's like a kidney stone.
No, it doesn't. Not if the entire thing is amazing. So, for example, my relationship with my wife is amazing. So there are things that she does that I don't give a about.
Yeah.
So she may not do this, she may not do that. I don't care because the entire thing is based on such an amazing relationship. And the same with the government. If the government is providing you with everything you need it to provide, then the little things don't matter.
But the thing, but it does though. Like, okay, you know how many people just in America alone is on food stamps? Each individual gets $250.
Okay.
$250 just by 1,000 people is what, over $10,000 a month?
Okay.
Every month for 1,000 individuals.
Okay.
That breaks down your whole entire economy system. That breaks down everything else. Even with us paying our taxes, every paycheck and everything, you pay what? $300 every paycheck to taxes. Guess what? 250 of that is going to your state benefits, going to everything else. The government can only keep that up for so long. Somewhere here in San Antonio, Texas, where there is 10 million people and 20% of the population of San Antonio is on food stamps alone, not talking about free health care, not talking about, medical needs where they can go and get their stuff for free at a free clinic. All this, like, everything drains everything. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, a dirty dish in the sink Dirty dishes every day and having to be cleaned every day builds up and builds up anger. You may not see it on the surface, but it does build up. It's just like, say your children only feed your cattle a quarter of what your cattle is supposed to eat. Is your cows going to be 100% fully healthy and ready to be slaughtered? No. If you go through a drought, if you can't get whatever is needed for your animals and they become emaciated, are you going to have a good harvest this year? No. It's the same thing with civilization. It's the same thing with the government. It's the same thing with everything else. And that government needs to be a well-oiled wheel. And with everybody giving out handfuls and handfuls of free benefits to everybody, we don't see what's actually happening in our economy. Look at the value of American dollar. The value of American dollar has dropped in the last 50 years dramatically than what it used to be in the 80s or in the 70s. In the 70s, you could go to Vietnam or Mexico and spend $5 and live like a king. Now, because the American dollar rules, they know the value of American dollar. So when you go to a port city or whatever, you want to go and buy a I don't know, what are they called for foreigners that want to remember their trip, a trinket or whatever. Okay, instead of going down there and paying 50 cents for a hand-carved necklace, now they want to charge you $300 because it's hand-carved, because they know the value of a dollar. That's how this world is ran. The world is ran on money. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are. You cannot be 100% self-efficient anymore. You can't. You have to have electricity. You have to have water. You have to have everything. It's just like, I know, Thor, I know you're pretty much 100% off the grid, but you're on a computer with us.
I'm not off the grid.
Well, I thought you were trying to get there.
We're working to get there.
Yeah.
The more we can rely on less government, the better.
Right. But that's the thing, everything that a human needs is controlled. And these people that want to be self-sovereigns, that want to be away from the government, that want to be away from all this stuff, they will realize, and a lot of them do realize, most people that do tiny home living and off-grid living and everything, give it about 5 years, and guess where they're at? They're living back. They sell their land and everything, and they're living back in the city. Because it is hard. It is hard to be on your own, and you cannot be self-sufficient. Nobody can be self-sufficient in this day of age. Even if you go to a creek down the street in the middle of nowhere, guess what? Somebody's going to tell somebody that there's a car on the side of the road, and a game warden's going to come down and find you fishing there with no fishing license or whatever. And guess what? You got a fine, or you're going to jail because you are trying to live off grid. You can't do it. That's the whole entire mindset. Everything that we talk about, we could go on for hours and days on the exact same subject, about different aspects of the exact same subject. There is no 100% definite answer to anything. Sorry. Oh. All right, gentlemen. I'm going to have to get off here. I got to go to work.
Yeah, and I'm had in mind to sign off myself. So it's almost midnight. So
Yeah. All right, family. I love y'all.
yeah,
Shadow, you know I love you, brother.
yeah, I know.
I try to help when I can.
Yeah, I know.
I am a realist. I'm a survivalist. I'm a prepper and all this stuff, but I'm also a realist. And that's one of the things. Like, I'm sorry if I say something that hurts somebody's feelings or whatever, but truth hurts. It does.
Truth sucks sometimes.
Yes. Cold, hard truth sucks. And the world has been lied to for so long. So, but I love y'all. Y'all take care, brothers.
Yeah.
Thor, great talking with you other than in chat.
Dude, you know, I'm always up for a great conversation about everything. So
Same here, brother. Hey, if you ever want to chat on my channel or whatever, you're welcome to Second Star Survival, brother.
I'll catch up with you soon.
Got y'all. Take care, Shadow. Take care.
Yeah, take care.
Take care,
Stay
brother.
safe.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. Time to wrap things up. I will see you next week. Same time, same channel. Don't forget, be part of the solution, not the problem. God bless.